go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remotely Wasted. This is our college football week 8 reaction. If it's your first time joining us, I'm Nick. I'm here with Jaden. It was an interesting week of college football. If it's your first time, we do a college football episode every Tuesday, and then every other day of the week, pretty much just kind of whatever other random stuff comes to our mind, we do an episode of. We got a lot of new viewers this last episode, so that was cool. A lot of new subscribers, people in the comments. We had the Michigan fan in the comments. Shout out to you if you're watching again. We'll be touching on Michigan. But yeah, like and subscribe, comment, argue with us. You know whatever. We're just happy to get more viewers. But yeah, we'll start with this week. This was kind of like I wouldn't say a boring week, but
it was kind of boring. I agree.
It did not live up to last week's hype. I will just say that.
It had like a lot of like potential going into the weekend, and then like as the game started playing out, it was just kind of like, okay, it's one of those weeks.
It was kind of a letdown.
Just so a bit.
We got the top 25 pulled up. South Carolina in there. That's
what happened. What have they done?
Did you watch any of the A&M game?
No, I did not. I don't think it was on.
I had it on Hulu. It was on like the SEC network or something like that. I watched a little bit of it.
I just probably didn't look. I was really just watching like the ranked teams play.
Yeah, like it was coming on. It was on the same time as like TCU, K-State. I just kind of caught it just at random times. So I'd turn it on. Like their running game is actually pretty good, and their defense isn't too bad. Spencer, like they just don't let him throw. So yeah, I don't know if it's because they don't trust him, or maybe that's just the way they're designing their offense. That was a fun game to watch. Kind of like the commentator. I love games where the commentators are just like having a good time. Like the commentators were like eating fair food, and they're like they just have like a giant turkey leg.
This got like a huge fucking corn dog.
Oh yeah, that was great. I hate when commentators are like they think they know more than the coaches and the players, and they just like are annoying
loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, I like when they just have a good time.
Yeah, if it's not a big game, have some fun. Fucking hone your craft a little bit. You don't gotta be so dead serious. Like the game's already kind of boring. Like relax.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to
see. Maybe not this one, but
South Carolina plays. Is it Tennessee or Georgia? They play somebody like pretty good this weekend, or maybe it's the weekend after.
They don't play anybody good till Florida in 3 weeks.
Florida, yeah. They play Clemson and Tennessee at the end of the season. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's a terrible stretch there.
That's interesting. Watch them wwin out.
What a crazy turnaround. We had their coach on the hot seat like on week 3, I believe, and now look at them. They're 5-2 and they're ranked. What happened?
Do you think it's like part of this is like the SEC bias though? Like if you look at their wins, they didn't really play anybody too impressive.
Well, I mean, they're 5-2. Who else are you gonna put? Yeah, Texas has now got 3 losses. Yeah, I think Liberty's sitting at 1, maybe 2 max. So you could potentially put Liberty, but Oregon State, I feel like they have 2 losses as well. Mississippi State now has 3 losses. I think Maryland's got 3. Shirley has played fucking nobody. TSA is trash. Washington's got 3 losses, and then we got 3 losses. Still getting that one vote.
Do you have an AP vote? Do you have a vote with the AP? There's one vote. There's one vote every week.
It's me. We're gonna be fucking 6 and 8, still getting a vote.
One of those guys has to just be like a major homer. Like I'm voting for Florida State every week.
In reality, we could be undefeated. So I thought whoever it is, I love you. Keeping us on there.
Looking at 25 through like let's say 15, that's kind of LSU is the most like that's what stands out to me the most. Out of that is LSU made a major jump. I don't know how warranted it was. Granted, they did beat Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I mean, they definitely need to be over all these other 2 lost teams. So they've lost to us in the first game of the year, and then who else did they lose to? Was it
Tennessee? They got blown out by Tennessee.
Yeah. Okay. So you've lost to the number 3 team in the country, and then us first game of the year. So I'm completely cool with it. I mean, you can even maybe put them up a little higher. They did take down Ole Miss, who was ranked 7 or 8. So yeah, I'm completely cool with that.
I'm
Uh,
not too mad about it. I would maybe have North Carolina a little bit higher. Same with Kentucky. Like if you look at Kentucky, one of their losses they didn't have Will Levis in,
yeah,
so you can kind of. I mean, I can't say you could completely negate the loss, but that one of their losses has a pretty solid excuse behind it. So I could maybe make that argument. Illinois, I kind of like Illinois is a team I'm actually very interested in. They have a few more cupcake games, but then
I
they play
fuck
some good teams towards the end. I hope they just like went out. That'd be awesome.
I fuck with Illinois. Like that defense, I'm for it. It's top 5 defense. They're killing it. I don't know how they lost to Indiana because Indiana sucks, but they'll beat Nebraska.
Probably beat
I'm sure
Michigan
they'll beat Michigan
State,
State. They'll probably beat Purdue.
then Michigan.
If they can stop the run, that's all you need to do against Michigan. It seems is if you can stop the run and you can score.
I think if any team was gonna pull an upset off against Michigan, it'd probably be Illinois just with that defense.
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's check their statistics real fast because I doubt we'll come back to them. Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't have any. I don't have them on my list or anything for the night.
yeah. This is the
So,
only time we'll touch on them probably.
let's see. QB, he's playing good. 10-2, 1,400 yards, solid. Running back's got 1,000 yards on the year, not bad. I just want where's their defense at? That's a plethora of tackles, good amount of sacks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12. Yeah, I got 12 interceptions on the year. That's fucking
That's
crazy.
solid. That's solid.
This man right here's got 4. That's nuts.
I'll say like they're
Uh,
low key like one of my favorite teams right now. Just quietly, just doing work.
yeah, they are. They're looking pretty solid. What is this? 161 sack yards, 23 sacks. That's also
That's
really
pretty
good.
good. That's really good.
And it's not even like one person really. It's all kind of spread out. You got 4, 1, 1, 4, 3.5, 4. So it's not like you got just one guy on the defense to double team. It's coming from everywhere. 2 of the linebackers, a defensive lineman. So they got 2 defensive linemen putting in work, 2 linebackers, and they're getting some extra ones here and there from other people, other like a DB and some other players. So I like what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean their head coach has done a really good job. Brent Bielema, I think is how you pronounce his name. He was from Wisconsin. He did a really good job at Wisconsin for a while. And then I think he got let go, and then he took over at Illinois. And I want to say this is his first year. It might not be his first year because I'm not too familiar with the program, but he hasn't been with the team that long, and he's turned things around.
See anything else standing out? Only giving up 11 sacks. It's not too bad. Averaging almost 200 yards rushing a game.
That's pretty good. Really good.
About 200 yards passing a game.
It's not bad.
Solid. That's a lot of penalties though.
That is a lot of penalties, and that could really kill teams, as we saw with the Syracuse, which we'll get to that game. I'm sure that's going to be a big topic of this episode.
And
Texas as well. That was a interesting game.
Fucking hell. Turnover ratio 4. That's actually really good. That's how you win games right there. Stealing extra possessions in a game is paramount to winning. You almost have to have extra possessions to be able to win.
Absolutely.
All right, it's enough on Illinois. We both like them. I like them. I'm high on them. I'm really interested to see. Did we already look at their schedule? Yeah, they got just Michigan, really. So
we got Syracuse there. Let's skip on Syracuse till we get to like our top 6.
Yeah,
just because there's a lot to unpack there.
Ole Miss dropped. I think that's a fair range for them to go down into.
I think Ole Miss is a
Nothing.
fraud. I think we had a Shelton on last week, and me and him were both like, you asked us like, who do you think's the biggest fraud in the top 10, and we both said Ole Miss.
Yeah,
And it was kind of proven.
I liked Ole Miss, and I'm kind of sad that they did lose. Let me see if I can fix this shit. My microphone's like blocking my face because I got a hunchback.
I just live with it. I just got my mic all up in the camera.
I'm like this. All right, I think that's a little better because like I like lean forward because I don't have my glasses on because they glare. So I gotta like kind of lean forward to see. So this is a little better. I can see my chin. Yeah, Ole Miss fraud turned out.
They have they're in the SEC. They could bounce back potentially, but they did not look very good at all against LSU, and maybe that speaks to how good LSU is. I don't think so though. I think it speaks more to how Ole Miss was a little overrated and not really well equipped going to that game. Granted, they got Texas A&M next week. I want to say it was also a cupcake win.
It was also on the road.
Death Valley, yeah.
It's turning out to be cupcake wins for a lot of teams. I think if they can beat Bama, they're right back in it. They're right back in it. They're third in the West, so it's very doable.
I don't know if they will beat Bama, but I mean, Lane Kiffin he's familiar with Alabama. Ole Miss has had a history of upsetting Alabama before, so I wouldn't be shocked if Ole Miss pulled off that upset, and that would pull them back into the playoff picture.
They're just gonna have to outscore them. It's like that's like a Booger McFarland thing to say. To win the game, they're gonna have to outscore them.
Speaking of stupid stuff people say, one thing I hate, and I think I heard this multiple times this weekend, it's the dumbest critique these commentators always throw out, is like, he should have caught that pass. Like, yeah, no shit, man. Like, or like, and they just make excuses for the quarterbacks. Like, the quarterback will throw it like a terrible throw, and it'll like touch their fingertips and like touches his hand. He has to catch it. Like, you're just gonna excuse that terrible pass we just saw, you asshole?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I kind of get where they're coming from on some of them, but
it depends. I mean, like sometimes it's like really like behind them, like they're way behind like
stop their route. Yeah, that's 100% a bad.
You get out there and try to catch it. Like that's what I have to say to those commentators.
You go out there and just catch the ball standing still. We'll see.
Penn State, they had a kind of a bounce back game. We'll see.
Who did they play? Who did they even play?
Let's see. They played Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota wasn't terrible though.
I don't know. I thought Minnesota was going to be good this year, but they have not.
They got Ohio State next week. That's a loss.
They got them at home, so that's a
plus. 11 a.m. Those 11 a.m. games do mess teams up.
I think they're doing like a whiteout game, and I think they're only like 500 like and whiteout games at home, which is like weird. Like that's like your thing, and then you're not even got like a really good record. I could be mistaken.
That crowd does get really crazy during those whiteout games, though.
And I think they've only beat Ohio State in one whiteout game. So
I think Ohio State's just gonna.
I think statistically, it's not leaning in their favor. I mean, looking at what Michigan did to Penn State, Ohio State can easily do that. So I don't know what they're gonna have to do, but they got to figure something the fuck out.
Unless CJ Stroud just comes in that game hungover or something, I don't see Penn State pulling that upset off. But maybe they just don't show up and they just have a bad game. It happens.
I don't either, but I would be cool. I'm here for it if it happens.
I would love to see it. UCLA, man, so upset. That Oregon game.
Oregon looked really good. I don't know what they just couldn't get anything going on offense. Like that first drive, they started really well. And then after that, to me, they kind of fell off a little bit. It's like they weren't really throwing the ball as much as I thought they should.
Yeah.
Dorian wasn't really on his game. He was making some kind of bad, like trying to force some balls.
I agree.
And they weren't really having too much success on the ground. I mean, the running back had like over 100 yards on the day, but I think he was like pushing 30 carries.
I think they should have thrown it more. And I think that's part of the reason DTR was forced in those throws was because he wasn't getting as many opportunities. So when he would get an opportunity, he would just get way too excited about it and try to force something that wasn't there. He had an interception, which he really hasn't had a whole lot of interceptions on the year. I will say, like, the offense wasn't the problem because I mean they scored 30 points. The defense they could not stop Bo Nix. I mean they couldn't do anything. That defense got exposed. That defense was looking really good up until that point. Like they played Cam Rising really good in the Utah game, and then they come in here and they just get exposed. Chip Kelly can't seem to beat his old team. It's just a thing that's happening. UCLA, I don't think they've beat Oregon in like a crazy amount of years, like some ridiculous like streak. Oregon's is a tough crowd. I mean, it really is a tough place to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got you. How was USC above Wake Forest?
Yeah, I don't agree. Wake Forest lost to Clemson, and then USC lost. Yeah, double OT. Oh, double OT, not over T. And then USC lost to UCLA. So I mean, you could even put Wake Forest above like maybe OSU.
Yeah, OSU, man, that's an interesting team because they keep struggling. Like every week they seem to be struggling, but they pull it out except for the TCU win. But that was even close then. They are a very well disciplined team, though. They didn't have a single penalty, I believe.
I think that's completely like it. That should not happen. There's almost no way you go a whole 4 quarters without no penalties, and the other team has 14. It just doesn't seem right.
You think the fix was in on that one?
I don't know about a fix, but like I don't know. I didn't watch all of the games, so it's not like I was able to watch to see if maybe they missed some calls. Well, they had to. If there's no way.
Well, holding we discussed holding. Like holding is so inconsistent pandemic. In the way they call it. I think they should be way more lenient on holding because holding pretty much comes up on every play, and then they pick and choose when they want to call it, and it's usually when there's a huge run. And they're like, oh, now we want to call it now that there's a big play.
I think the only reason or the only time they should be calling holding is if like you have a clear shot to the ball carrier. Like if you're like right there in the backfield about to tackle the running back and you get held and then the running back squirts out, or you're about to get a sack and you get like drugged down, or the QB is about to roll out and you're trying to go after him and you get held pretty well. Honestly, I think that should be it. Like, or just blatant shit, like little holds. Come on, just let them go.
Yeah, like when they're straight up tackling the defender, then call that. Something. But they are they're just like the refs, man. They were just throwing the flags like crazy this weekend, which I think we'll get into that on our takeaways of the week or of the weekend probably. But that was like ridiculous. And then we'll get up to the Clemson Syracuse game, but Jesus Christ, that the refs this weekend were just terrible.
This year, it's not just this weekend. It's been I know FSU's had our problems all like the last 4 games with the refs, like in a very bad way, like a very like one-sided like against us type setup. It's very bad this year.
Let's see. We'll actually know what we're pretty much to the point where we could talk about our top six. We pretty much covered everybody up to the teams that would be considered. I say from 7 and up, you could put any of those teams in the top 6. Yeah. So let's hop into that Clemson Syracuse game before we get into the whole rankings. That game was atrocious. Like from a referee standpoint, that late hit or whatever. I mean, he barely like ran into him, and he was getting pushed. And then he runs into the quarterback and they throw it. And then they the same thing happened, like, and they didn't call it for Syracuse when Syracuse got hit.
Yeah, that third quarter late hit was completely changed the game. It was like 3rd and like 18 or something, 3rd and 20.
They had them backed up.
They was gonna have to punt. They were up by I think a touchdown, maybe 10, and then they went down and scored. And I think immediately after that, they had another penalty against them for something. I think it was pass interference, maybe. Completely ruined the momentum for them, and then they just never recovered. They didn't do anything for the rest of the game. That completely just deflated the team. Got Clemson back in the game. Syracuse did everything they could do to lose that game.
That is true. Like there was some terrible calls, but also Syracuse. There's a lot of false starts, like stuff that you can't deny was
Yeah.
on Syracuse. But it was just like, do you think like the refs being ACC refs know Clemson's realistically the only team in the ACC that's going to get in the playoffs, so they call it in favor of Clemson? That way, ACC has a shot in the playoffs. I mean, that's kind of the vibe I get from it. But
Yeah,
I don't want to get too conspiracy theory like on this, but
it does feel that way and kind of looks that way. Like Clemson has been bailed out so much by just the crazy shit. They're getting by the fucking skin of their teeth. They should have 3 losses.
I agree. So we're going into
And
our
then
top six. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, and then Clemson, if they make the playoffs, they're getting beat down bad. It's
Absolutely.
I think they might get like 40, 45 points hung on them. They're supposed to have, like one of the best defenses in the country, and we just have not seen it against, real competition.
I would say like one thing I will say about Clemson is that they pretty much have their ticket punched to the playoffs at this point. I
Unfortunately.
don't necessarily agree with that, but I mean we know the committee is going to put them in. They don't really have any more challenging teams on their schedule besides the ACC championship. They played everybody. They played Syracuse. They played Florida State. They got Notre Dame, which
Hopefully Notre Dame beats them. Maybe South Carolina can pull it off.
I
But
think that's their most realistic shot of losing is to South Carolina, just because there's a rivalry. And those rivalry games, you never know.
and it,
One team could be like 0-12, and one team could be undefeated, and you don't know what some rivalries.
yeah, it is at home though. I think it would be super feasible if it was at South Carolina, but
Rattler's gonna pull it
I don't
off.
know. I don't want to see Clemson in the playoffs this year. They're not a good team. They're not going to be. They're not going to beat any of these 4 teams. I don't think they'd beat Bama. I don't even think they'd beat TCU. I don't think they'd beat Oregon.
No.
I think they could potentially beat Oklahoma State, but they've been having issues with mobile quarterbacks. So Spencer Sanders and Bo Nix and Dugan, Bryce Young, Michigan runs the ball really well. Brent Hooker, CJ Stroud, Georgia be a little different, but yeah, I think Georgia and Michigan would be like the ones that they'd probably play best against.
I still think they'd lose though.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
might it might just be closer.
I think they lose to all of those teams like pretty handedly. Like I think by at least 14, every one of those teams.
I would say 9 and up, they have the potential to lose to. I would say like Oregon and Oklahoma State, they might be able to beat 10 and down. I do think they'd beat pretty much all of those teams.
I don't know. I think Wake Forest, if they battle that again, it'd be a different story.
True. That is very true. So we could do our top six, kind of, how we did like the movie episode where we kind of just went back and forth on our stuff.
Yeah, you want to start at 6?
Let's start at 1, since like I feel like the top teams are easier to guess.
All right.
You go ahead, go first.
I got Ohio State 1.
Oh, I have Ohio State 1 as well. So, I mean, Ohio State.
They look too dominant. They're not slowing down in any aspect of the game. Like they did start out a little slow against Iowa, and if Iowa had an offense, this might be a completely different game. Because Iowa had like they were stopping them. They got a fumble recovery for a touchdown, so it was like 7-10. That was like their only points for a hot minute. And I think going up close to halftime or even into halftime, it was like really close. So if I was able to put points on you, like maybe take the lead and start making CJ Stroud sweat a little bit, Iowa probably could have pulled off an upset there. I would have liked to have seen it. I thought they had a pretty good chance going into the game to beat them. Other than like their offense, Iowa has the worst offense I've ever seen, ever.
I agree with you there. I mean, Ohio State was really dominant against a very good Iowa defense. To make excuses, I guess, for Iowa's defense, their offense was just giving the ball back to Ohio State. The defense was going to tire out at some point.
Yeah, it was on the field the whole game, like literally, probably 3 quarters.
But even with that excuse, like CJ Stroud and that Ohio State offense, like they dominated a team they shouldn't have dominated. on defense. Like that team, like after this win, I'm like, is there a like this is one of the best defenses in the country? Like who can stop them? I don't know if anybody can at this point.
I think they do have a top 10 defense. Let's see, college football. I'm pretty sure they're in the top 10. We'll just go back to this. Yeah, they're like the 6th ranked defense. Ohio State somehow is the 2nd ranked, but who have they played to like? Not really anybody. So that checks out. Illinois is number 1, which is insane. I love it. Boise State, nobody really cares. They're not really playing anybody. Georgia, that checks out. Michigan, I'm kind of surprised about.
Their defenses look pretty good. For the most part, they've had a few games where they've struggled a little bit, but overall, I think Michigan's defense is really solid.
I think outside of Ohio State, Michigan's played the better offenses. Like Iowa's played. Oh, this is fucking Ohio State. What am I doing? You know what? I don't care. I was gonna look at Iowa's schedule and who they played, but I don't think it's been anybody crazy.
Yeah, I mean, probably not worth looking at. So we could go to number 2. Who do you got at number 2?
I got Tennessee.
Oh, I also have Tennessee. This is getting pretty. I mean, Tennessee. There's not much to say about Tennessee this weekend. They played kind of a cupcake game. They struggled a little bit early on, which is kind of surprising. It was like 14-7, and then next thing I knew, I checked and it was like halftime, and it was like 52-7.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, a little hangover coming off the big upset on Alabama. I get it, and that was a very tough game. It was a long game. It came down to the end, so I imagine everybody's pretty fucking tired. Old Bears just scored.
Yeah, I know. Fucking Mac Jones, take his ass out. This is why we're losing, because we don't got Bailey Zappi in. It's just completely changed the demeanor of the team.
I gotta find the Manning cast.
Justin Fields, man, running it in. He's a good player. I mean, I think once he gets in the right situation, whether or not it's the Bears surrounding him with some good players or
the Bears fucking suck.
Him just getting traded to a better team. I think he's a good quarterback. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee, they had a really, really good game coming off the Alabama. Who do they play next weekend? It's somebody reasonably good. I think it's next weekend.
Kentucky.
That's good. That's a good game. That's more to boost their schedule, more to make them look better if they win. That Georgia, that Georgia, man, that's gonna be the best. I am. There's no way I'm gonna miss that game. I don't care. I will cancel any plans I have to watch that game.
100%. I'm calling in sick for whatever I got.
I have to see that game. It's like the Ohio State Michigan. It's like one of the games this year. I'm like, I have to watch that game because that's gonna be
100%.
Just a major game. So number 3, who do you have?
I got Georgia number 3.
Okay, this is where we start to defer a little. Or no, actually, no. I have Georgia. God. Okay, let me explain. So I had Michigan ahead of Georgia last week. So the reason I moved Georgia ahead of Michigan is because Oregon played really good against UCLA. So it makes Georgia's win against Oregon look a lot better. So now Georgia's schedule looks better, even though they had that game where they struggled against Missouri. I think they've just played more challenging teams than Michigan so far. Michigan definitely has a chance to, leapfrog Georgia again, but because of how well Oregon played, it really had nothing to do with Georgia or Michigan. It was just like Oregon looked really good, so it made Georgia look really good. So I moved Georgia above Michigan.
Yeah, and Michigan had a bye this week, so
yeah,
they didn't even play.
But, I mean, who did Georgia even play this weekend? Did they even play this weekend?
No, they didn't play either.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of I think that's part of the reason this weekend was kind of boring because like a lot of top teams are on bye weeks. Michigan was on a bye week. Georgia was on a bye week. Tennessee was playing a cupcake game.
I think Alabama had a bye too, didn't they?
No, they played a Mississippi State, and they
oh yeah, that's right. Some other Florida State, Oklahoma.
Yeah, they were both on byes. Did Utah? I don't think Utah played. No, I don't think Utah played. Maybe they did.
USC play?
USC was on a bye. There's a lot of
Yeah.
like a lot of bye weeks, which kind of ruined the weekend. I was like, why did you guys put all of these on one weekend? Because a lot like these games were like there's some hype behind them, and then the hype was kind of killed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the teams
there's only like 3 games to look forward to, and most of them weren't that good.
And the teams that should have won did win.
Yeah, which makes it kind of boring.
A little boring. It was one upset. So we continued the week upsets. Ole Miss almost got taken down. So
that was like kind of the only like cool thing that happened this weekend.
I don't think we've had a week yet with no upsets.
Yeah, I don't think
we're in like the top, like a top 10, like a top 10 team.
I think that trend's going to continue like through the whole season, probably. So this is where it gets interesting. At number 4, who did we leave out? Who did
I got Michigan? I got Michigan 4.
I got Michigan at 4 as well. This is like the first time I think we've had like the exact same top 4.
Just order changed a little bit. Just because I have
hot takes at 5 and 6 though. I do have hot takes at 5 and 6.
My 5s might maybe a little hot take-ish.
So I mean, we don't really have much to say about Michigan because they were on a bye week. They looked good the last time we saw them against Penn State.
They looked really good.
They have the best, I would say, the best running game in the country. I mean, like I know statistically they probably don't, but like nobody wants to face that running attack. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. I think his name's Donovan. Edwards is his last name for sure. They're just running all over people. McCarthy, that's his name. McCarthy, that's his last name, right?
JJ McCarthy, the QB.
He's okay. I mean, he's not like the best in the world, but he
does
right.
what he does what he needs to do. Yeah,
he's solid.
I still think they beat Ohio State.
I don't know. It's gonna be so. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think that could be the game of the year.
It honestly could be like like a 24-17 kind of like a low scoring, like just defense on the field at all times for both teams.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be,
or it could just be a complete 60-54, like something crazy, just going nuts out there.
Or Ohio State just mops the floor with them. I don't think that's gonna happen, but like if either team's gonna blow one or the other out, it's gonna be Ohio State, but not Michigan.
Yeah, I don't think Michigan's unless Blake Corum runs for like 300. That's probably the only feasible way.
All right, so this is probably where the hot takes are gonna begin. Who do you have at 5?
I got TCU at 5.
I have Alabama at 5.
Okay. I don't know, man. TCU's got some big wins. They are undefeated. So they've taken down OU, who was 18 at the time. And now that win's not worth as much. They took at 19 Kansas when they still had their starting QB.
Yeah.
They beat Oklahoma State, and then they just beat Kansas State. So like that's a 4 solid game stretch of ranked teams. And they've looked really good in all of their wins. Like they probably should have lost OSU, but they found a way to win. So I like it. Looking at the rest of their schedule, they don't really have anything that's going to boost them any higher other than just winning. Texas might get ranked at some point, maybe.
I would say they have a good shot at getting ranked again, but
they have to win their next 2 games.
I don't know if Texas will be ranked by then. I think by the end of the season, they'll probably be ranked again.
They could be like 25-ish.
Yeah, they're probably not gonna pass the 20 mark again this year. I don't see that happening.
No, unless they
just dominate.
Unless they beat TCU. That's the only way.
Yeah,
but even if they beat TCU, like look at LSU, who just beat Ole Miss with just 2 losses, and they're only at 18. So Texas with 3 losses beating TCU, like, would they really? Come on, it's Texas. What am I talking about? They're going to be up here like 12.
I mean, yeah, granted. I mean, we don't know how the playoff committee. This is our last week, I believe, of AP rankings. After this, it'll be college football playoff rankings, which we'll have to probably restructure the show a little bit.
We'll get real debatable in that. Spend a good amount of time, pros and cons, and like who should be in there, who got left out, like type thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for like the real rankings to come out. The AP is cool, but like it's not the same as when those they have a whole show where they announce the
I
rankings and we see the top
I
four
think
teams.
it's just gonna be this top four here.
Yeah. So
Who was
I
your 5?
I had Alabama, which is kind of
Okay.
a hot take, but I mean they looked really good against Mississippi State. The reason I have Alabama so high is because I'm really high on Georgia, so I think that loss is very understandable. I think Georgia is
You mean
quite possibly
Tennessee?
the best, or Tennessee. Yeah, my bad. Tennessee is quite possibly the best team in the
Yeah.
country. So I mean, losing to Tennessee by 3 and almost winning that game is not that bad of a look for Alabama. Did you see people are calling for Nick Saban to get fired and stuff? Like ESPN guys were like, Nick Saban needs to get let go because of this one
What?
loss to Tennessee. I was like, he won like 6 national championships. And like
Uh,
their arguments like he's getting old. They need to find a replacement. I'm like, nah,
in
he's
like 5 years, maybe.
like in my opinion, he could just go until he's done. Like that's why like if a coach wins you 6 championships, he could go till he's
You
done.
let that man do whatever the fuck he wants for the rest of the. He could be like going getting 2 wins. You let that man fucking ruin your team because he built your team back up.
You ungrateful sons of bitches.
That commentator should be fired for that.
There's multiple ESPN guys like in Paul Feinbaum was like he might actually get fired. I'm like he's not getting fired for one loss to Tennessee. Are you guys out of your mind? Like who's gonna replace him? Like, I mean, actually, pretty much they could call any coach and they probably come.
The
But
only time that would even be coming into question is if they lose like the rest of the games for the year. That would be like, okay, maybe it can touch your lips, but it's still not going to happen.
I could see Nick Saban leaving Alabama. I don't see Alabama firing Nick Saban. I mean, I don't even think Nick Saban would leave unless he just wanted another shot at the NFL. That's the only thing I could see. Like, I got to redeem myself in the NFL.
I wouldn't. It's too risky. Like, it's just going to tarnish you even more if you go to the NFL and then you suck again.
Yeah, it could. I mean,
it's just not worth it. And he makes really good money. So, man, Pat's not playing very well.
get Mac off the field, man. Put Bailey Zappi back in, man. This guy is so. Wait, that's actually a pretty good run right there. Where are they at right now?
I don't know. All I see is
rushing
Peyton
yards on 2
Manning.
scrambles.
Trash.
Jacoby better be getting me some points. Actually, it doesn't even matter. I've already lost this game, but maybe Jacoby gets 7 touchdowns and I'll win.
You need like 100 points.
Why is Mac just taking off like he's Michael Vick or something? Dude is out of his mind.
Are you on the 2nd 9 play?
It's like 3rd down. Yeah.
Yeah, I just seen him. He almost picked up the 1st down.
So going into rank 6, I do have a hot take on a team I left out. I got TCU at 6. You had them at 5. I left Clemson out. Like
I got Alabama at 6.
We both left Clemson out. I thought that's kind of a hot take on both of our ends.
Like I said, I don't think Clemson's that good. I mean, they could be. They could find a way to win against one of these these top teams. It's feasible. Like they have the defensive players, the talent. DJ, I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name because I've never successfully done it, so I just don't even try. He's good. I don't think he's where he needs to be to really kind of compete for a national championship.
What did you think about him getting benched?
I think it was like the perfect call. It really sparked that team. And that was a smart call from Venables. And it was exactly what they needed because they were so stalled. And that's part of the reason why Syracuse was out on them.
Yeah.
And they had the momentum. So it was a really gutsy call because it could have been disastrous. That the kid that they brought in as a freshman, and that's a pretty big game, you know. And Syracuse could have easily just manhandled him if he was not, ready. And that kid looks good.
Yeah, I mean, Dabo's always like he has like he's a gutsy coach where he'll do something that just seems crazy, and it usually works out.
Yeah,
he's just a gutsy coach. I mean, that's a crazy environment to play in for Syracuse, and I'm impressed that they held them off for as long as they did, because that crowd was crazy. Not like I haven't really watched a lot of Clemson football, so I guess I kind of forgot how crazy that crowd is. Like the whole game, that crowd is going nuts. Like they don't stop.
Well, They taken the crowd completely out of the game for like the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, but I mean that
And
second half, they were just fired up.
I'm telling you, it was that fucking tackle out of bounds on the QB that ruined it.
So I mean, the thing with Clemson is like I consider them putting them as high as like 3, but then I started to think about it, and I'm like, is Clemson's schedule that much better than TCU's? I don't think it is, and I think
No, who's
TCU's.
Clemson? We'll break them down. Okay, we'll start at Wake Forest. So that was a good win. At the time, Wake Forest was. Is that right? Were they only 21? Yeah, I
I don't
guess
know if
they.
that
I
is
guess
that is that their current ranking or what their ranking is.
no, that was what they were because they're fucking
Oh yeah,
11s.
yeah.
So that looks even better now. They're all the way up to 11 with one loss, and they were at 21 at that point. So that's a good win. They found a way to beat them in double overtime. Granted, I still think they should have lost. Sam Hartman made a terrible decision. I'll say it again. So cool, check, got it. NC State, they got no Devin Leary, so we don't really know how to kind of describe NC State. Like they're not good now without Devin Leary. They're not good.
Yeah.
So that was a good win, and I thought there was potential for NC State to win that game. They couldn't do anything on offense. That was a defensive game in my opinion. And then us, we ruined ourselves on that one. We could have won, but they beat us fair and square. And then Syracuse did everything they could to lose that game. So that's easily 2 losses that they could have had on the schedule.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't say like even like the NC State and Florida State game, like they did look good, but they didn't look like top 4 good against those teams. I mean, they
No,
weren't just
absolutely not.
blowing them out. They weren't like Florida State. That should have been a blowout. Like realistically, like the way that game started, like Florida State
Yeah.
should have not came back into that game, and they allowed them to get pretty close to making a comeback. And then NC State, like I wouldn't say they dominated the game, but they were pretty much in control that whole game. So
Yeah, the whole
I could give
time.
them that. I could give them that game for sure. Wake Forest, like that was a shootout. But the rest of their schedule, they really haven't played anybody. Syracuse, in my opinion, I wouldn't say the refs gave them the entire game, but I think you could attribute that loss on Syracuse's into some bad calls from the refs.
And even that Boston College game, that first quarter or two was pretty close. I think it was after halftime or right at halftime is when they kind of started jumping out. So I don't know. I think it's DJ. I don't think he's like there yet. Like he's a really good quarterback, and I think he's got the potential to win and lead them to a championship. 100% he can do it.
I
He's got
saw
the
this.
talent.
Good.
Yeah, he's got the talent. He's lost some weight. He's a really good runner. He's a big fucking dude. He can throw. I think he's still a little too inexperienced. And in these big games, especially if they're like almost road games, because they're gonna be neutral sites in the playoffs. But like if opposing teams fans show up and it's majority, say they're playing Tennessee for example, and it's like all Tennessee fans, he's gonna struggle. The crowd noise is gonna get
Yeah.
to him, and Tennessee's defense is just gonna harass him, and then they might just take him out again.
And I mean, even if it's like half and half, that's still a lot of pressure. And then like you got more media around because it's like a playoff game. You got just more like it's a crazier environment. I don't know how
Yeah.
well he would withstand it, but I was on like the college football Reddit, and they asked this question that I thought was kind of interesting. Do you think Clemson could win a division in the SEC or the Big Ten? I think they could win that one division in the Big Ten. Is the only one I
Yeah,
can think of.
I think it just depends which side they're on. Like if they're
But
on the Ohio State Michigan side, no,
oh no way.
not this year. Maybe like when they had Trevor Lawrence.
SEC,
SEC,
nah.
absolutely not. When they had Trevor Lawrence, yeah, maybe. But this team, no, I don't see it.
I think Clemson should make a jump to the SEC though. I think it'd be better for their program in the long term. But I mean, it's kind of an arms race right now. We'll see. I mean, there's some rumors about some ACC teams leaving to the SEC.
We'll see.
I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if like Clemson and FSU went to the
Honestly,
SEC.
I kind of don't want us to go to the SEC yet because like we're not ready. Like
Yeah,
as much as like I've said like we could be undefeated, like that's against our current ACC schedule, which we've had a this is a really good schedule we've had this year, and we've played some tough games, but we're not ready to be in the SEC, not yet. We're not, we're not completely built back up yet. We don't have the established culture that we want to be at. Like we're well on the way. We don't have our recruiting down. We have so many injuries. We need a new defensive coordinator to even compete against some of those SEC teams.
yeah.
We're getting completely gashed on. We have no run defense, and as much as I like Jordan Travis, I don't think he would lead us to like an SEC championship.
See, I don't think you guys can make like an immediate jump, but if you guys had like you're in one of those situations where it's like you guys like got invited to the SEC, but it was like you guys didn't have to go until like 2028. I think you guys
Oh
could
yeah, 100%.
prepare yourself by
yeah.
then. I mean, because Florida State's a big brand.
Yeah, next year will be different. I'm 100% sure we will be a way better team next year.
I think Florida State has the potential to be maybe a New Year's Six team next year. We'll see. The recruiting has been pretty good under Norvell. The whole team's
much better.
Improving. But before we move on to this next topic, I am going to take a little quick break.
Wow. Got that old man bladder. Oof. And the Bears are kind of cooking the Pats. They just got an interception off Mac Jones. That poor Nick. Pats almost just intercepted the ball back. The crazy thing about this game is I think the Pats had like an 88% chance to win this game, and now they're down by 10 in the second quarter. A little weird. The NFL is so weird this year. It's so weird. I don't get it.
Man, I was just talking about that. Kind of pissing me off.
The Bears just intercepted the ball.
Bro, fuck Mac Jones, man. Get his ass out of. He's sorry as fuck.
I was just talking about, so the Pats going into this game had an 88% chance to win this game, and now they're down by 10, and the Bears are.
That's a nice sack.
Oh damn! Yeah, I think you're a play ahead of me. What are you doing? Just get rid of the ball, bro.
He was trying to do too much on that play. Put Bailey Zappi in and we win this game. I guarantee you. Like bench his ass now. We win this game by 10.
He's got a hot hand.
He's a great quarterback. Well. I think we should roll with him for the next 10 years, man. This guy's good.
I don't think they're gonna do it. Just they got too much, like draft capital invested into Mac Jones.
Trade Mac for a 4th round pick and I'd be happy with it at this point.
A backup punter.
Trade him for I don't care who they trade him for. I'd rather have Tom Brady this year than Mac Jones.
Yeah, I don't like Mac Jones. I don't think he's the guy. At least not in your guys' system. No. Nah, then thinking of what system would he be better in? I
think
I'm he's just struggling to think a team that he would be good on.
I think he's just a really solid backup. I mean, that's what I think. He's a good player. He's like a Ryan Fitzpatrick or somebody that he could help you out for a season or two, but he's not your guy. He's not the guy that's going to win you games. He can manage games. But I mean, look at this game. I mean, they're strong. Oh, Bailey Zappi's warming up. He's on the sideline. They got him on the sideline, throwing passes and shit. Mac Jones is just sipping on his Gatorade. They're putting Bailey in. Let's go.
Yeah, they are. Mac Jones
there he is. Oh, I'm so fucking hyped right now.
Oh, he's
Watch him throw a touchdown first play.
I'm not a whole fucking play behind you. I don't understand. Just stop spoiling it for me, Nick.
That's what happened.
You're ruining my experience.
The Florida State LSU game, you're a play ahead of me, and that game was kind of crazy, and you're like, oh, they just blocked it. And I was like,
one of the better Florida State games I've seen in a long time.
That was really good. Right. So we kind of went on a tangent on the NFL. Biggest takeaway of the weekend. Clemson. Who do you got for the big? What do you got for the biggest takeaway?
Fucking ACC is a dumpster fire as a whole. Like outside of Clemson, like we have no shot of making the playoffs, and our one shot is not a good shot. And then like other than Clemson, like I'm pretty high on Wake Forest. You know, I hate them and what they did to us, but I think they're a really good team.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like it's just weird. Syracuse completely shot themselves in the foot. NC State's a wash now with Devin Leary out. North Carolina actually looks pretty good, but other than that, like we fucking suck. Like as a conference, like Miami got blown out by Duke. I think Georgia Tech won again this week. It's just as a whole, like we're not very good. Let's see. At Boston College and NC State, just trash. On the bottom, like NC State's at 5-2 and they're second from the bottom in the Atlantic. Like that's just weird. And they're honestly Boston College could potentially finish above them in the conference because they have no Devin Leary. It's very possible. I don't think it'll happen because Boston College is absolute trash. And then like on the coastal, it's just completely like everywhere. North Carolina is more than likely it's gonna be Clemson, North Carolina, and the ACC championship.
Carolina's looking pretty good ever since Appalachian State, or actually they beat Appalachian State, didn't they? Or they lose to them like barely. I think they lost to them barely. They've only had Notre Dame, yeah. Like it was close. It actually wasn't that close.
But like Georgia Tech is 3-4 after firing their coach. Like that's actually pretty good. Duke's at 5-3, blowing out Miami. How the fuck is Miami like 3-4? Like I just don't understand.
Just threw a touchdown.
No, did he?
To really? Myers. I told you. Put that man in.
That man was wide open.
Man, this is
unreal.
Anyways,
it's just the ACC is a dumpster fire. I think we should reorganize if we're gonna keep our teams in the ACC and maybe pick up new ones. I think we got to reorganize it. The Atlantic is too stacked.
It's kind of like the Big Ten. You know how there's like one really strong conference, and then you got the other.
The Coastal has potential to be good. Like North Carolina in the last 5 to 6 years has been good, and then Duke is kind of off and on. Pitt has been pretty solid, and then Miami should be good. But outside of those three teams, like the rest of them suck. And then the Atlantic, like historically, Louisville's been pretty solid. After Lamar Jackson left, they kind of went back down a little bit. Wake Forest is good now. Syracuse is good now. NC State's good now. And then Boston College sucks. So, like, it's just too stacked on the Atlantic. I think if they reorganize a little bit, it would be much more interesting.
Yeah, the ACC, man, they're just it's just not.
It's bad.
Like it's so lopsided, and then like even the teams that are like pretty good, like I could see Syracuse kind of finishing the year out not on a high note, kind of not
Syracuse
looking very
could make
good
a New Year's Six bowl. Like it's possible.
Hypothetically, Syracuse could, if there's a Clemson like upset, they could
make the
playoffs.
A whole lot of stuff to happen up in here.
But I could also see Syracuse like folding after that loss and it really affecting their confidence. I don't know. I hope Syracuse plays good because I do really like the team. It was the first time I actually got to watch a full game of them against Clemson. They did look really good on offense and on defense. The defense really performed really well. And then, the quarterback was really good. He was pretty good on his feet. And then just like in that second half, they just kind of stalled out.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of crumbled under the pressure. So, the ACC, we're going to get an ACC team in the playoffs. It's going to be Clemson. I have like almost no doubt in my mind. Clemson is getting into the playoffs.
I would almost rather not have a ACC team if it has to be Clemson. I don't want them in the playoffs. They're just going to get in there and they're going to embarrass themselves. And I hate Clemson. I don't even want to see them make the playoff. I'm sick. Fucking sick of Clemson. I'm tired of losing to Clemson. This is, mark my fucking words, this is the last year we lose to Clemson for a minute.
Yeah, Clemson, man, they've been getting you guys since like the Jameis days.
We've been asked for like 8 years, so it is what it is.
Clemson, yeah.
But look at before they came up, they were fucking nothing forever. So suck it, Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, you got to blame Dabo for that. He built that program up. I wouldn't say for nothing. Like they did have a championship in like '85. They had some good years here and there, but like since Dabo's taken over, they've just become a powerhouse.
I don't like him. Like,
I don't like him at all. Like I don't like him at all. I hate him.
It's a terrible team. And
I just want to state this, like I know we've been really high on Ohio State. I don't think either one of us likes Ohio State. Like we would love to see. I
don't like Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State in the slightest. Like I would much rather root for Michigan over Ohio State if I had to pick a Big Ten team. Like
I think some people in the comments were thinking we're like Ohio State fans or Tennessee fans or something. Like
I don't like it. I don't like any of these teams. Really, it's just cool to see Tennessee in there. I mean, we're tired of seeing Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan's. They're kind of recurring a little bit, so it's cool. I'm fine with it. Fuck Clemson, tired of seeing Bama. They can kick rocks. I like seeing TCU.
Cool. Oregon will be
I don't want them to win just because I love having their their logos, their national championships wins. It's just classic. And then I still have not forgiven them for what they did to us in the playoff game with Jameis last year. They absolutely destroyed us. So yeah, I mean, I would much rather Michigan be where Ohio State is, 100%. But it's just they have not, outside of that Penn State win, they just are not looking completely dominant. They've had some close games with some teams. Not like really close, but like close-ish compared to Ohio State, who's like putting 50 on everybody. So
yeah, I mean,
in my opinion, that's the only reason why I have them so high.
Yeah, I mean, like if I had my choice of like all these teams that could realistically win a championship, like
it's the top 7.
I would say the top 7. I would probably want TCU to win. Like out of all those teams,
that'd be cool.
Tennessee or TCU. Those are kind of my two choices that I would love.
I'd be cool with Michigan. Honestly, I wouldn't even be mad if Georgia repeated. I really wouldn't.
I don't want Bama. I don't want Clemson. I don't want Ohio State. Michigan actually wouldn't be that bad. Like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, Ohio State, Clemson, Bama. I don't want to see either of those 3 teams. And honestly, they all 3 have a real other than Clemson, those 2, Ohio State and Alabama have a solid chance to do it.
Alabama has a higher chance of making the playoffs than Tennessee.
Yeah, I think because of Tennessee's remaining schedule, and then because they have Georgia, and then Alabama wouldn't play Georgia until the SEC championship. So I think that factors in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Who does Bama have left?
Got LSU this weekend.
And then Ole Miss.
They got it in Auburn, and like I know Auburn sucks. God, it is a rivalry. It is a rivalry game. Those games you never know. And
I think LSU is going to give them. I think LSU is going to give them a little bit of a run for their money. I don't think they win, but I think it's a closer game than everybody thinks.
Where's
dare I say LSU wins? Dare I say it? It's in Death Valley. You know what? I'm gonna hot take here. I think LSU wins by 3.
I think Alabama wins in overtime.
I'm pulling the upset. I think it's very, very possible.
I think Alabama's defense is suspect, and I think
LSU's defense is fucking solid. Like that defensive line is really good. Yeah, it's just whether or not they can contain Bryce Young, like his scrambling ability. That man is like Manziel, like back when they would be scrambling and just make magic happen. It's so fucking frustrating to watch if you're like not an Alabama fan. You're rooting against them, and he's just like, I'm a 360. I'm just not a little no look pass for a touchdown. You're like, fuck, dude. It's so annoying.
He's so good. Really, really annoying. I can't stand it sometimes.
Like I almost hate. Oh fuck! Nice. Patch just got an interception
for a touchdown.
No, they just got a pick.
He's running.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating if like you're rooting against them, and he's like you almost want to hate Bryce Young for how good he is, and because of the team he plays for.
He's such a good player though.
He
He's
is
one of the
very good.
best players I've seen maybe
And all,
ever like
and
in college
he's got
football.
a really good leadership quality about him. Like he's a leader.
And he's
Dude's a
calm. He's always calm.
yeah. Dude's a dog.
I
Bryce
like
Young,
I like Bryce
dog.
Young. I do like Bryce Young as a player. I don't like Alabama. I respect Alabama, but I do really like Bryce Young as a player.
Yeah,
We
me
could
too.
kind of skip over my biggest takeaway because we already covered it. My biggest
The
takeaway
rest,
was just the refs wanted Clemson to win that game, in my opinion. And
it
then
did seem like
I
it.
also had that this weekend was just underwhelming. It
Yeah,
just
a little bit.
wasn't great.
Oh,
So
a
we
lot
can
of
move
it.
on to player of the week. I'll go first since I think mine's like
I have
I
two
don't
lined
think
up in case you.
it's yours.
I have two lined up in case you pick the one that I think I'm going for.
I have Bo Nix, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 285 yards, 22 of 28 passing, great completion. You fucking had him, didn't you? God damn it. We've been the
I
same on
gotta
so much.
I got a second one lined up, so I'll pick somebody different. Yeah, he had an incredible game. The dude was almost perfect. He missed 6 passes, threw the ball 20 times. Like the man was cooking.
Where
And he
did this
rushed for
come
51
from?
yards.
Like, I mean, like he's been like all right this year, but this game he just like he came to play.
I mean, yeah, at Arizona, he didn't even have a passing touchdown. He did have 3 rushing touchdowns, but because I considered him for I was looking, for players of the week last week, and I was like, oh, Bo Nix, he had 3 rushing touchdowns. I was like, all right, but no passing touchdowns. I'm surprised he didn't have any rushing touchdowns this week. But yeah, 5 touchdowns and almost 300 yards against a 9 ranked UCLA team who their defense was supposed to be really good, or we thought.
Yeah.
And he absolutely just dismantled UCLA, and he did whatever he wanted.
I was so disappointed. Like I was frustrating. It was just frustrating watching that game as somebody who really
Yeah,
likes UCLA. But I mean, Bo Nix, he played his ass off. Like, if
yeah,
Bo
he did.
Nix could like do this for like 5 more weeks, he could be in the Heisman race. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll keep this up, but he
I think
could.
it's a little too late for him if he wants to win it, but he could definitely make it to the ceremony.
Ceremony. Yeah, I don't. I think it's when we'll get into this. I think it's down to like a 3-man race. But
Honestly, they could make the playoffs if he keeps on like this and they win out.
if Oregon
Very,
wins out,
very.
I think there's a very high likelihood they make the playoffs.
I think they would make it over.
I mean, like I feel like Bama's gonna get another loss. I don't know why. I think they
Well,
will.
so Bama, if they don't lose again, they would be beating Georgia in the SEC championship. So that's going to put them over Oregon. You're going to have a one loss, more than likely Michigan or Ohio State. I think that I don't know because Oregon's one loss is the one rank or Georgia. So that's going to be right there on if like Michigan has a one loss to Ohio State or vice versa. So like those are almost like even like worth losses, if that makes sense. So it's tough. They need some teams ahead of them to lose, but like they're very, very able to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. I think a lot of those teams ahead of them. I think there's some potential losses there. I don't see TCU winning out. Like I want them to win out. I think it'd be cool, but I mean TCU, that Big 12, they're just killing themselves. It's like just
Yeah,
they're just destroying themselves. It's very entertaining to watch, but
it is.
I don't think the Big 12 is going to have a team in the playoffs. By the end of this, they're going to take each other out. Maybe TCU wins. I really don't think they do though. Michigan. I mean, it depends on how high the committee is on Michigan. Do they have a bias against Michigan? Is Michigan one of those
I
teams
don't
where
think they
they?
do. Like
I mean, they let them in last year, so I mean, there's that. But I feel like they always have that team where they put them in there because they're undefeated, but they're like,
yeah.
as soon as they lose, we're taking them out. And like,
I
is
don't
that
know why they're
Michigan this
not.
year?
I don't know why they're not higher on Michigan. Like Michigan's like one of the like most historical schools in college football. They're like like when you think of blue blood college football teams, like Michigan's like top five. Like if I if I had to
Did
rank teams, like they'd be in the top five probably.
Did you know Michigan actually has a winning record against Ohio State? I like looked into a bunch of rivalries today for some reason, just out of curiosity. and Michigan had like the better record.
Is it close?
Yeah, it's very close. Like that's probably the closest one, and they've had 10 matchups where they're both in the top 5. That is nuts to me.
That's pretty good. And yeah, Michigan's kind of been getting handled in the last
10
years.
last 10
they've
years.
Won only like
it's
2
almost
or 3.
been it's been almost been all Ohio State the past several years.
But I don't know. I don't. They're so more like high on Ohio State than Michigan for some reason. I don't get it. I really don't. I fucking hate Ohio State. I'm sick.
Like they love Ohio State. Like I feel like Ohio State and Michigan aren't that. There's not that big of a separation. Like I mean, for fuck's sake, Michigan beat them last year.
Yeah,
and it's like Michigan never gets any credit. Like going into the next year, like Michigan doesn't get the credit. Like it's always Ohio State.
Michigan will be like ranked 7 or something to start the year. Like they could win the championship this year, and they would probably be like 7.
It's kind of ridiculous, but I'm that guy in the comments. Like, I hear you. I don't think you guys are gonna win. I know you think you're gonna win.
I think they beat Ohio State. I really do.
I don't think you guys are gonna win the championship. I think you guys could make the playoffs. Even one loss Michigan could make the playoffs. I said that in the comments. There's a lot of that could happen. I mean, Tennessee has a tough schedule down the road. They could lose a couple games. We don't know. I hope they don't, because I really do like Tennessee, because they're just a different team, different face. We haven't seen it in a while. Ohio State, I mean, they could lose to Michigan. Maybe they drop out. Georgia, I mean, they play Tennessee. I mean, Georgia is in the same situation as Tennessee. They could lose a couple games before the season's over. Bama, I mean, they got LSU this weekend. Jaden thinks they're gonna lose. That knocks them out. Oklahoma State's not gonna finish the season. I am gonna put a hot take on Oklahoma State, and if I'm wrong, I'll fucking live with it. I guarantee OU beats Oklahoma State in Bedlam. I guarantee
no shot.
I guarantee it's in Norman. The team's improving. It's a rivalry game, just like Auburn, Alabama. Auburn could beat Alabama, and Auburn sucks. OU is way better than Auburn.
There's a very good chance that's always a good game, and OSU always has OU always has OSU's number, always. There's a very high probability it could happen, but I think OSU's like talent right now is just a little bit better.
No, I agree. I think they're more talented. I think it's just gonna be,
as long as they don't blow a fucking big lead like they have been. I think there's a solid chance that they do that. They go up 30-10 or something like that, and then they just let you guys come back and don't score for the rest of the game.
Well, I mean, like you're having this conversation about Florida State, how there's kind of like 2 Florida State teams you get. I think it's the same.
We have 3 Florida State teams this year.
I think it's the same way with OU. OU has looked really bad, but they've also had games where they've looked really, really good. And depending on which team shows up that game, and it's at home, I mean, I don't know. I hope we win. I guarantee it, though. I guarantee it's a personal guarantee. We are both 2-0 on guarantees. So
you gotta take each other. You gotta take OSU out. It would be unfortunate, but it's very, very strong chance.
So who was your non-Bo Nix guy?
I got Sam Hartman. Yes, they did play Boston College, so there is that. Bo Nix was going to be my number 1, but this man also had 5 touchdowns, 313 yards, and a rushing touchdown. So solid outing. He wasn't close to being only 62.5% completion percentage against Boston College. That's more so why he wasn't my number 1 pick, because he did have 1 more touchdown than Bo Nix. Bo Nix played a much better team and had a much cleaner game. So I just wanted to have almost like an honorable mention in case we had the same person, which I was like almost sure we both did.
Yeah,
there was nobody else really. I didn't
think you were gonna pick Bo Nix. I don't know why. I was like, he's not gonna pick Bo Nix.
I don't. There's not that many other players. Like, I was really kind of struggling to find somebody that was like other than Bo Nix, because I really didn't want to pick Bo Nix. I couldn't, other than Sam Hartman. Nobody was really standing out to me. Hendon Hooker, I looked at him, but he only had like 3 touchdowns.
And plus, it was like
UT Martin.
Yeah, I mean, like who cares about that team?
I mean, they might Sam be better than Boston College.
I like Sam Hartman. I mean, he's balled out every game, in my opinion. Like, he missed like the first game. I mean, look at that man. He's
fucking locked in.
That's a killer. Like that's
That's a
killer
grown
instinct
ass.
right
That's a
there.
grown ass man playing quarterback in
He
college.
looks
That
like a
dude is.
UFC fighter, like in that picture. Like
He's whoever gets him in the NFL has got like I think a ready to start, ready to start quarterback as long as he's not in a bad offense.
well, see, I think he's gonna be like later first round, maybe early second round.
Yeah, so
So
he
I
might
think
go
I
to
think he's gonna end up on a pretty good team. Maybe Tampa Bay. I mean, like maybe. I
Tampa
mean,
Bay. Would be a really good fit. I could
how do
run
you?
run the slow mesh with Leonard Fournette.
Oh,
That shit would never work in the NFL.
nah,
The defensive
definitely
lines
not.
are just too fast.
Yeah, I mean Sam
It
Hartman though. I mean, do
it
you
only
think
works in college because they don't get it like the defensive lines in college. If you're not playing a good team, they're not getting the penetration to stop it, and you have to blitz. You have to blitz every time.
there's such a big talent gap in the
Yeah,
NCAA? Like in the NFL, there's 32 teams, and if you're starting in
all
the
the
NFL,
best
you
players.
are great. You are a good player if you're starting in the NFL. Like in the college, I mean, like you might not be good in the NFL, but in college, you're like the best player on your team if you're starting in the
You might
NFL.
have one person that would it's like NFL talent on your entire team. Maybe outside of like these like I don't know. Realistically, like if you look at people that go in the draft, it's not even all top teams. It's like they'll find like a random right guard from like UTSA and
We
take him in the
drafted
first
in the
round.
Patriots. We drafted some lineman from Chattanooga or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. So it's like first round picks aren't always. It's more so the defensive and QBs and like wide receivers. Like those are the top teams, like top picks. But outside of that, it's like fucking. It's a crapshoot on like linemen and stuff like that. So it's you would think like, oh, okay, in the draft it's going to be all these teams here that are going to go, but it's not even remotely close to that.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing like with the talent gap in NCAA though, like some of these teams are like the equivalent of a high school team. Like
Yeah,
it is kind of crazy to think about. Like you got a guy like Sam Hartman or something
out there
playing
playing against these kids.
like some just loser team like Boston College. I mean, I'm sure they have some good players. They're D1, so it's not like they got a bunch of
Barely.
scrubs, but like they are not. They ain't got the same talent level as like a Wake Forest, Clemson, Florida State. Like they don't bring that in. Matt Ryan's the
And
best player they've ever had.
Wake Forest is not even a big school, and like the fact that they can put together like a competitive college football team is like crazy. I think I seen something they only have like 3,000 students at their school or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, like it was. What would I want to search? Like Wake Forest student
Student number of students or something.
student population.
Population. Let's see
It's
what they
not very
got.
big. Yeah, that's in 2014. That's okay. We'll just go with that. So 7,500, 7,600. That's crazy compared to like let's look at I don't know. Let's do fucking Alabama. Alabama Forest. Stupid.
Forrest Gump, best Alabama punt returner.
31,000.
Yeah, it's like oh shit, my shit is not charging my
That's like 4 times the population of fucking Wake Forest.
shit was about to die. Yeah, like I have this like light switch that like turns the power off on the outlet, and I forgot to like flip
That
it up.
shit's so annoying.
It's stupid. Like it's
stupid
dumb.
invention. Stupid.
I was like, oh shit, I can't have this dying in the middle of the episode. The amount of editing I'm gonna have to do to make this look right. And I am not an editor.
Okay, defensive team performance of the week. We also might have the same on this.
I actually went with a player instead of a team.
Oh, okay.
Jason Taylor from Oklahoma State, 2 interceptions against Texas. Really good player. He got hurt.
Is that he blew his fucking ACL out on that interception?
Yeah, he hurt himself pretty bad, but he had a great game up until that point. 2 interceptions. I think he had the like game-winning interception on Quinn Ewers.
He had 9 tackles. Yeah, 2 interceptions. He only gave up 16 yards, or is that interception return
That's the
yards.
interception return yards, I think. But he had a fantastic game. That's a great player. I hope he recovers. He looks like he could play in the
He's
NFL.
out for the year.
I hope he gets.
He's a senior
right.
too.
Yeah, I hope he gets right before the draft because this is a really good player that could get drafted and make an impact in the NFL. Luckily it is October. Drafted. He has a long time between now and April. He might actually be available during the combine. You know what I mean? He's got some time to get healthy.
That was a bad like he like fucking hyperextended his knee or some shit. It was kind of gross.
So you have a team. Who do you have for the team?
I got Duke. They forced 8 turnovers against Miami.
Oh Lord, I did not see that.
Here we go. Sheldon, a little Duke love. 8 turnovers. Like that's absolutely insane. Let's see. 3 interceptions from the QB. Imagining the rest were fumbles. I didn't look too much into it. It doesn't say fumbles in there, does it? Yeah, here we go. 2. They have 5 fumbles and 3 interceptions. That's insane. Like, actually insane.
This Miami team is just like
I can't wait to play Miami, man. I fucking can't wait.
Who you guys got next week?
Beat the shit out of them. We got Georgia Tech next week.
Georgia Tech. Well, I mean, not a great team either, but
yeah, we might have Miami the week after that. No, what? I think we have Syracuse week after that, and then I think we have Miami.
Miami, man, this is a bad Miami team. This is a terrible Miami team. Mario Cristobal, I can't blame it all on him. I mean, he's kind of inherited just kind of a trash team. Maybe after another offseason of getting his players, transfer portal, all of that. That's a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, but Jesus, man, Duke looked pretty good. Duke looked really good in that game.
8 turnovers. That's a lot, and only one of them went for a score. So I mean, that's a silver lining for Miami, I guess. But if you're a Miami fan watching this, fuck your team. Miami's dog shit. I hate Miami, man. I hate everything about Miami. There's not one thing. They have no fucking fans that show up to their game. It's great. They're like fucking UCLA, but worse.
They do have arguably the best college team of all time, though. The one Miami Hurricanes. Yeah. Very good team.
I think that might be the best college team of all time. I would probably say it was. That team is fucking gross.
Miami, man, they were crazy back in the day. They just have not been good since the early 2000s.
I'm so glad. It's great.
It's kind of like, I don't have anything against Miami. I think it'd be cool if they were good again. Like,
it'd be good
to see a team like that. I mean, like, it's like I hate Texas, but it's kind of cool to see them like good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't care if they go winless in a year. I give 0 fucks.
Yeah.
As long as we beat them, I'm happy. And we've kind of been struggling like the last couple of years against them. So, well, against everybody.
They've been an embarrassment. I mean, they were ranked to start. What were they, like 12 to start the season?
Yeah, they was ranked kind of high. I don't know
very
why.
High. I mean, it's like Texas A&M. They have the same record as A&M. A&M was like 6.
A&M was 6.
The preseason rankings mean absolutely nothing if that doesn't show you. Like next season, don't worry if your team's not in the top 10 because like half those teams are going to be unranked by the end of the season.
I think the only reason they have preseason rankings is to like make certain teams wins against other teams like mean more. You know what I'm saying? Like that Notre Dame win for Ohio State to start the season. Like Notre Dame's fucking terrible. They wouldn't be ranked all year.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Outside of that,
when you looked at it was a top 5 win the first week, but then you look at the rest of the season and it's like it's not that good.
Yeah, so they shouldn't even be ranking teams until like I don't know, like a week or 2, maybe 3 before the playoff rankings start coming out.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. I'm super excited for the playoff rankings to come back to see what the committee actually thinks because right now the AP, all that, it's just kind of guessy. Like we have our own rankings. Like I don't even really look at the AP. I go by my own rankings. Like since we've been doing this show, I'm like, it's kind of cool. Like we got our own rankings. We got our own ranking system. We got our own like Heisman things.
A lot of our rankings are kind of in lieu with the top 7. So it's not like we're reaching down to like, oh, we're gonna pull fucking an undefeated, say, I'll say Illinois if they hadn't lost, if they were like 7-0. Like, yeah, we're gonna pull Illinois up there, which you probably could make that argument if they were 7-0.
I mean, I feel like we kind of float in the realm of like we know who they're gonna pick, but we just kind of order them in the way we think they should actually be ranked. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we know they're gonna pick Clemson, like they're gonna pick like a one loss Alabama if it gets to that point. We kind of know what the committee is gonna do, but I'm still just excited to see their rankings because they got the whole show. They got the little it's a suspense to it. They got the whole like the graphics come up like really slowly.
It is cool, but you already know like who the top 4 are gonna be. Like it's just you don't know what order that they're gonna place them in. That's kind of the big thing. What order are they gonna be in?
Yeah, and who they have is like their first 2 out is pretty interesting too because I'm like these guys are coming up too. I feel like the committee doesn't care about anything from like after 12. They don't actually care. They just kind of randomly order those teams like, oh well, we'll throw this team here because we actually don't care.
They probably just look at the AP and then they're like, yeah, we'll with that we'll make like 2 changes and we'll call it good. That's what I would do, realistically. Like somebody already did all the work and like let me put my own little spin on what they got going.
Do you think it's stupid that like athletic directors get votes? Like there's athletic directors on the committee. Like
yeah, that's kind of like super biased too. Like it should be nobody attached to a team. If that makes sense. But then again, like it's kind of hard. Like who are you gonna find that's not had some sort of interaction with college football to come in and then rank college football teams? So like it doesn't make sense to just have some random fucking bums off the street to come in and then rank teams. But then like you have like an athletic director for Ohio State like on the board. Like obviously if Ohio State's undefeated, they're gonna be like, well, I think Ohio State should be number 1. So like
they've had like Ohio. I think they actually have the Ohio State guy. I know they have the OU guy at one point. Like I feel like they should make a criteria. Like they should
pick teams that aren't in the top 10. Like you find you some guys from some teams that will like there's 0% chance that they will make the playoff,
or get some FCS like athletic directors. Like they have like they don't care at all, but they know about football. You know what I mean?
And then if like say you're an athletic director for like a rival for one of these teams, you're not gonna want to fucking put them like high. I mean, you might if you can be unbiased, but like everybody has bias in almost every decision they make, whether or not you want to believe it or not. I firmly believe like bias is like a huge, part of life.
Oh, it's in everything. I mean, like judges
you don't even
are supposed
realize
to be unbiased, but they're definitely biased. Like anything you could think of, like referees are probably biased. Like I don't like this team. Like like these refs, you can't tell me these refs don't have a favorite team somewhere. Like they do. They have a favorite team, and you don't know when they're calling their favorite team, but they got a favorite team. Like maybe the refs from ACC, like maybe they're big Clemson fans. You never know. I mean, you like these refs definitely have a bias. Like I don't like this guy. Like I don't like this coach. This coach always yells at me. I'm gonna just
his players talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot into it. I kind of just wish that like teams that were in the running for playoffs didn't have their athletic directors on the committee.
I agree. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna turn my fan on. It's fucking hot.
Cool. Oh, there goes Justin Fields taking off for a big run. We got Bailey Zappi in though, so I'm content with that. Our defense is kind of not looking good. We always struggle against rushing quarterbacks.
Damn, he cooked y'all.
I think we can still win this game though. I mean, we got Bailey Zappi in. Like we're not looking bad.
All right, next topic. Disappointing player of the week. You want to go first?
Yeah, because so we were talking about this before the show. Like we both have different philosophies. Like Jaden usually picks like the worst player of the week, and I usually pick a player that I thought should have been good and let me down. So mine, Quinn Ewers, he really let me down. in the Oklahoma State game. He was a 19 for 49, which is a terrible completion percentage. He did have 319 yards, which is pretty good. 2 touchdowns, which isn't bad. But then he had 3 interceptions, and he just folded under pressure. He was just forcing throws. I mean, like the last 2 plays, he threw an interception. They took it back, and then he immediately throws another interception the very next play. I was expecting him to just ball out, and he really struggled. I mean, that's a terrible completion percentage. That's less than 50%.
I thought Texas was gonna win that game. I honestly thought he was gonna just come in there and absolutely cook Oklahoma State.
Like 47 QBR. That's like good.
That's terrible. The man missed 30 throws.
He was overthrown. Did you
49 times?
He was overthrowing everybody, like the whole game, just overthrowing. Yeah. Like Worthy was getting wide open, and he would just throw it over his head. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? You're supposed to be like one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and you're just making yourself look bad. And the commentator's like, it's the win. I'm like, then why is Spencer Sanders playing good? Like, tell me that then. It's not the win.
I don't know what happened. I really don't. I would be interested to, like, you know, if you could have a conversation with him and like no bullshit, like, hey man, like what was the issue? Like what happened? Like to see like what he would say.
It's probably like it was OSU's homecoming. It was a crazy crowd. Like the alumni was there. Like I have some friends on Facebook that were like, they don't even care about football, but they're there because it's like OSU homecoming. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, was the defense that good that yesterday or Saturday? Like I don't. I'm curious to see like what it would be, because he was doing okay, but he was just really kind of like, he just kind of seemed shook, just a little bit.
He definitely. He seemed nervous.
He only got sacked 1 time, so it's not like he was getting sacked all game.
They were getting a little bit of pressure on him, and he would just throw it. Like he would just like launch it pretty much every time and they got close to him. He'd just throw it up wildly.
That could have been another game where you could consider, benching your quarterback for a spark.
Yeah, I don't know who they have. Oh, they have Card behind him. He's not a terrible quarterback.
It could have been something, I don't know. In that situation, maybe not, but maybe for like a drive. Yeah, but like when they took DJ out, like the commentators made a pretty good point, like pull him out of the game, like let him settle down and like let him like kind of just watch the game without having to be in the game, like kind of seeing what the defense is doing without actually being on the field, and just catch your breath, kind of compose yourself a little bit. I think that could have been a decent idea. Pull him out for a drive, because I mean you're already. Let's see. We'll pull up the game cast.
Let's see.
All right, so it was relatively close, and they was up. So I think probably about when Oklahoma State started coming back, maybe like here. When did he? I don't know when he threw. I know the last 2 interceptions were like at the end of the game, but he wasn't playing good before then. Maybe, yeah, I would say maybe here. I know they're up, but still, like, if he's not playing very well, like you can afford to take him out for a drive, as long as you're not, like on your 10 or something like that.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
if you have decent field position, maybe you could pull him out for a drive. Let him just chill for a second.
It would have been a good learning experience for him. This game, it raised a lot of question marks for me about Texas. Like, is Texas really back? I don't know. They struggled against Iowa State. They come into this game, they blow the lead. Quinn Ewers doesn't play very good. I mean, they really, like the Alabama game, they looked really good. OU, they looked really good. But besides that,
I think I feel like they're kind of in the same boat as us. Like FSU,
they're almost there, but they're not.
I think they're like a year away. Quinn Ewers, he's a freshman, isn't he? Yeah, he's a fucking true freshman. Like what true freshman do you know is almost beaten Alabama?
Yeah,
none. Johnny Manziel.
Yeah,
but I don't remember. Was he a true freshman?
I think he was. I think he was a true freshman. So
yeah, they got their guy, and then they got Arch Manning coming in. So Quinn Ewers has got. I mean, if he ain't performing next year, then the year after that, it's the Arch Manning show.
So that's a controversy. Like I feel bad.
That's a lot of pressure too.
I really feel bad for him because like if he has a bad game, the fans are gonna be like, put Arch Manning in. Put Arch
I
Manning
mean,
in.
and even if that's the case, like he'd be he'd be going into his junior year. He could transfer, go to a fucking a team that needs a quarterback, and like they got everything else, and let him ball out, and then maybe play another year or fucking go straight to the league. Like I am still like high on Quinn Ewers. I still think he's the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ on the football field. He's got the talent. He's really good. He's got the arm. He's got the accuracy. This game, not so much. He had a terrible game.
Well, I think he looked like a freshman in this game. Yeah. I don't think it speaks to like Quinn Ewers as a player. It's just like he's inexperienced. He's not used to playing in these types of environments, and Stillwater is not an easy place to play, especially not.
Well, yeah. If you look at that, that's their only road game, and it's in Stillwater. That's crazy. So that's his first road game, which doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, you couldn't say the OU game. They always play at a neutral site, so I mean that's kind of like a road game. They play in like Fort Worth or something.
Well, but I mean that was kind of a cakewalk. You guys didn't have Dylan Gabriel. Like you guys just looked absolutely fucking awful. Like they could have put the backup in and probably still won that game.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys just kind of were like, I think a little deflated with losing a quarterback too. So I wouldn't put too much into that road game, but like, this is the first true road game in a very hostile environment, and it did look like it shook him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll bounce back. I think he's just not gonna, be that great this season, but next year I think he'll have a good shot. I think they should just redshirt Arch Manning so they don't have to deal with that whole controversy next year. Give him another year, and then you have Arch Manning, like that turns into a controversy like his redshirt freshman year. Then sure, Quinn Ewers at that point, I'm sure he could move on to like USC. I'm sure like Caleb will be in the NFL at that point. He could move on to Oregon. I'm sure they'll be looking for a quarterback. There'll be a lot of different spots open. Michigan. So I mean, he'll have his opportunities elsewhere. But I think realistically,
I'll take it.
He could finish his career out in Texas. Yeah, I mean, he could go anywhere.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take him at FSU. Shit, hell yeah.
Who was your? We know who yours was.
My boy,
Spencer
he's
Petras.
back.
We've been calling him Petras this whole season.
Fucking dog shit. One of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen on the worst offense I've ever seen. And I still can't wrap my fucking head around it. This man is a senior, and he's played. This is not like his first year. Like this man is a fucking senior. Like, let's see. Let's look at in 2022. He threw for almost 2,000 yards last year. 1,500 the year before that. So he's got 2 years of steady playing time. And then this year, oh my God. Let's check the stat line out. 6 for 14 for 49 yards. The man didn't even hit. They didn't even cross half field. In reality, 2 interceptions, 5.9 QBR. That's the lowest I've ever seen. It's not like he got hurt.
This man's gonna be the first guy to ever get a negative QBR.
Oh God!
I will say this is my first time ever watching this man play, and
he's bad.
I can't like this.
They don't let him throw the ball. They just run it, and then he does throw it, and it's not good.
I thought you were exaggerating. No, this man is literally the worst. This might be the worst football player I've ever seen in my worst D1 football player I've ever seen in my life. This man can't complete a pass. They can't do anything on offense. This guy, I hate this man. Actually, like Iowa should have won this game.
They should have won this game.
But they should have at least made it close. And this,
if they had a competent quarterback, this would be a different story.
Okay, he's a little far. He's a person. He's good enough to get to Iowa D1 team. But I mean, like, dear Lord, man, like if you guys were just if he was just mediocre, they could have maybe put up a fight. If he was just like below average, but he's terrible. He's the worst guy I've ever seen.
This is so bad. I don't know if I've ever seen it that low of like a QB that's played a whole game. -7 rushing yards. Oh my god, that's so bad. Like, look at these QBRs. He's terrible. He's terrible. Also, to be fair, their offensive line does suck. So it's not all on him, but
everything about that offense is
my god. Worst offense I've ever seen.
Why don't they take him out? Like, I was thinking that during the game. I was like, maybe they did. Maybe they did later in the game. I don't know if they did, but I was like, start somebody else, man. If he's this bad, like, you guys could be decent. You guys could be decent if you guys had somebody good.
And it scored fucking 2 touchdowns on the year. We're going into week 8.
This game just made me mad because, like, he was like Iowa got that turnover touchdown, and it's like their defense is playing great, and then you got this guy just coming in and
fucking little ratty, cheese eating, having ass.
That man is high as a kite in that picture. He was high at the game. I guarantee he was high at that game. Man, that man smoked
man's out there on ketamine on the field, seeing fucking max coverage, and it's a man coverage.
He's like that 30 for 30 guy on the Raiders that was coked out of his mind at the Raiders game.
I got to do a goddamn 30 for 30 on this fucking offense.
No, honestly,
maybe the worst offense of all time.
He's tied for actually 130, 121st in touchdowns. There's only like 132 teams. Team. All time.
I'm just curious. I don't care about the program. What's the worst offense?
Exploring the worst offensive performance in college football. That might just be like
that's in 2014. Well, because like their defense like keeps them out of the worst team of all time like conversation. Like their defense is carrying so hard, it's not even funny. So like they wouldn't even be in the top 50 like worst probably worst teams in D1 because of their defense. Without their defense, they might be number 1. I'm actually curious. What is I seen Duke on there. Rest in peace.
Let's see. Number 1, Kent State.
Kent State.
Ford International.
Ford International. Okay. I think this is where Willie Taggart's bitch ass is at. He about to get fired too.
Louisiana Monroe.
Are there any big schools on here? Buffalo really?
Bulls. They've had some.
Buffalo's been pretty good. Indiana. Okay, yeah, there's our Indiana's first big team.
Been pretty terrible. They've had some UTEP.
UTEP sucks.
They're not good. Florida Atlantic. They've had some good years with Lane Kiffin. I guess Lane Kiffin was their only good years, probably.
Yeah, maybe that's where Willie Taggart went. He went to Florida Atlantic or Florida International. I think he's at Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic, they're on the up and up. Rice is terrible. Northwestern isn't that bad.
Northwestern's also one of those really fucking small, like it's like a private school, like it's very prestigious, like academic schools. Like I 100% understand why their football team sucks. Like you're not a football school, so I get it. Did you see the fucking stadium that they're getting? Oh my god. Northwestern. That shit looks crazy.
Really? Wow.
Like, look at this shit.
Why are they getting this?
It's gonna be smaller than the one they got now, but like, holy fuck, that thing looks
very
dope.
Nice.
Like that looks
like the Vikings. Actually, that looks like the LA stadium. Like that looks really cool.
Yeah,
I'd go to a game there.
I'd go to Northwestern to play. Like if I'm a recruiter, like yeah, that place is sick, and they could pack that stadium easily.
I've been really getting into the idea of like going to different stadiums now. Like I kind of want to experience because we're going to the Florida State game next year, hopefully, and then there's some other stadiums that I really want to see. Like Florida State's a big one. I want to see Death Valley and Clemson. Both Death Valleys actually.
LSU's the real Death Valley. Let's be honest here.
The Horseshoe, Ohio State. That'd be a crazy game. Have you seen the Michigan Stadium? Like, have you ever heard the song? Actually, you heard the song, Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
By they were singing that song in like unison. It was kind of cool. I was like, it's a really random song for you guys to be singing. Wake Forest, man, they're on the up and up though. Damn. I mean, their basketball
fourth worst
really
winning
good.
percentage in the history of college football. Ew. Yeah, see, like I said, like Wake Forest, like the team they got now is kind of like a super outlier. They're just not a big school, and they struggle to have enough like talent to play like to field a good team. So I get that.
Idaho got kicked out of the D1, I think.
K-State, huh?
They're not that bad. Colin Klein, y'all just gonna dismiss that?
If it wasn't for Bill Snyder, yeah, they would be fucking dog shit.
UNLV, yeah, that's fair. Eastern Michigan, yeah. Iowa State, they're on the up and up, but yeah, overall they've been pretty terrible.
New Mexico,
UAB, yeah, Tulane.
Hey, Tulane, they're ranked fucking 23.
This year is their year.
Whoever wrote this, pound sand. Colorado State's trash. Louisiana Lafayette. They've actually had a couple of decent years lately.
My cousin, she dated a guy that was on the team. Louisiana Lafayette.
Nice.
Dude was huge. He ran like a 4.3, but he was like 300 pounds. I was like, that guy could probably go to the NFL. I don't think he did, but
that's an interesting
statistics. Yeah, Spencer Petras.
Fucking trash.
I hate this guy. I really do, man. This guy, like Iowa could have pulled off some great upsets if it wasn't for this guy, man. He's actually the worst. Like I thought you were exaggerating. No, this is the worst quarterback I have ever seen in my life. Yeah, what was he like in high school? He's probably good in high school, to get to a D1 Big Ten school.
So he went 17 and 18 in varsity.
No, that's a 17-18 year, I think.
Oh, okay, and you're right. He was the 84th ranked player in California.
That's not bad.
I went through for 7,000 yards, 84 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. What? This man threw for 4,157 yards his senior year.
50 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Jesus.
All right, I get. He go from that to this?
What kind of teams were they playing? Were they playing good?
This is a 2A school, I bet.
Is there a schedule on here?
What division are they in? Like, I could see them being 1A or something.
Marine Catholic High School?
Private school. Co-ed. Varsity.
There ain't no this year. What kind of teams are they playing? See if I know any of these teams.
They're whooping everybody that they play.
Yeah, I don't know any of these teams. I don't think they're in like a.
They're not playing Sierra Canyon. Like they're not playing the best of the best schools.
That man went crazy in high school though. Like
50 touchdowns and 2 interceptions is insane.
What the fuck happened?
Speaking of high school football, shout out Punk City, Oklahoma, 67-0. This is the best win I think I've ever seen in the history of the program.
The school.
If they go to the championship, I'm going to that game. I will.
Yeah, I'll go to a game.
I'll drive to Stillwater or Norman, wherever they play the state championship. I will go to that game to watch them probably lose the championship, but it'd be cool.
Get blown out. Yeah. Okay. We'll move on. We'll go to our Heisman top 5. This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, we could kind of do the same thing we did with the rankings, but let's go from 5 to 1.
Okay.
5, I got Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He didn't play great against Oregon. I think he still has he still has a good shot of maybe making it to at least the ceremony. But I've said last week, and I'll continue to say, I think it's a 3-man race at this point, and 5 and 4 are just kind of like your
honorary
participation trophies for Heisman. But yeah, I see you got Max Duggan picked up. I had him very close. I really considered putting him at 5.
I was between him and Caleb Williams. The only reason I went Max Duggan is because Caleb Williams is lost. So Max Duggan, if he wins out, he has a much higher chance to win than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, I think, is having a better statistical year. I can't put him over Max Duggan. Max Duggan is it's not even showing his like rushing stats. Like what is he doing on the year for rushing? Let's go to the man's running the ball pretty well. The man's got I was about to say 1,700 yards rushing. I was like, there's no fucking way. He's got 274 on the ground too, which is actually pretty solid. And then he's got 18. He's already almost close to passing his career long, and they're halfway through the year. 19 touchdowns. So I like him.
He's good.
He's doing what he needs to do. He's protecting the ball. I think if he has any shot, he's gonna have to get his yards up by like a significant standard. I think Bryce Young or CJ Stroud's like pushing like 2,500. So he's gonna need to start airing the ball out or running the ball for a lot more yards to have a chance.
Yeah, I think just them winning also just ups his chances if he plays at a similar level.
If they win out,
I think he has a good shot at being there. His receivers, Johnston has a good shot at being there as well.
His receivers are great.
TCU has probably the second best receiving core in the country, like next to Ohio State. Oh yeah, I don't know if I was seeing stuff, but it looked like Mac Jones and Zappy were talking shit to each other on the sideline.
Dude, what if they started fighting? That'd be dope.
Like, it looked like they were talking shit, ass. But I don't know. Like I don't have the volume on, so I don't actually know what's going on. But their body language looked like
Belichick
each other.
What if Belichick just cuts Mac Jones after this game?
He's done stuff like that before. We have this guy, Jonas Gray. He rushed for 5 touchdowns against the Colts. It was probably our 2016 season. Rushed for 5 touchdowns, like player of the week, and then he was late to one meeting, and Belichick cut him. Like that's next game, like the same week after that. Like after his breakout game, he cut him because he was late to a meeting. Like Belichick does not fuck around. Yep. It's kind of annoying sometimes, but yeah.
The man does not give a shit.
He benched Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl for some stupid shit like that. That's what we lost.
You love to see it. Hey, if the Patriots lose, everybody wins. They're gonna trade Mac Jones for Tom Brady.
Watch it happen.
Tom Brady would be an absolute disaster on the Pats right now. He's a liability.
Yeah. So Max Duggan, really solid. We can move on to number 4, who I have Bryce Young. I have Bryce Young at number 4. I think he's not in that top 3. I don't actually realistically see him winning, but he's played a great season. If he wins out, he has maybe a shot. Jaden's brought this up multiple times. Like he won last year, so it's really hard for them to give it to a guy twice. Plus, he's missed a game. I think he missed 2 games actually, and
he missed 1 game, and then now they get the bye. So technically, he's not played. But
did he get hurt in the Arkansas game? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he went out in the second quarter of the Arkansas game, so he missed the rest of that, and then he missed the next game. So he's missed 1.5 games. And then the bye week. So
then he kind of struggled against Texas a little bit, not much, but he did struggle a little bit in that game. He has a loss, but his stats are looking really good. And when that man is playing, Alabama is good. They are a scary offense. He's probably if we're just he's the best quarterback in college football. He might not win the award, but I mean, we all deep down know Bryce Young is the best quarterback in college football.
Yeah, overall, all around, all qualities included. I would agree.
Is that who you had at number 4?
Yeah, absolutely. No, they didn't have a bye. What am I talking about? They played Mississippi State. I'm fucking dumb. Everybody just roast me in the comments, please. It is a solid game. It's nothing crazy. 249, 2 touchdowns, negative 13 rushing yards. So not great on that front, but he's not playing incredible.
Yeah, I would agree.
Outside of these 2 games here, Vanderbilt and ULM,
The
and
Tennessee
then
game was really good.
Tennessee shootout. Yeah, that's probably his best game. Like outside, if you're not looking at touchdowns, but like just like overall, like desire and drive to win, and like carrying your fucking team on his back like that. That was he did everything he could to win that game. He just defense was a lot. That secondary is a liability.
Yeah,
Particularly the safeties.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This isn't the best Alabama team, so that definitely hurts his chances. The receivers actually haven't been that good.
Yeah, no, they're not
getting
that
separation. Like the running backs have been good. Like the running backs of Jahmyr Gibbs has been great, but Bryce Young's had trouble finding guys in certain games because they're just not getting the separation he needs. But there's still 5 games left, and like that's a lot of time for somebody to make their case to win the Heisman. And I feel like nobody's running away with it at the moment. But I do feel like the 3 guys we most likely both have at 3 are just a little bit ahead of Bryce Young.
Yeah. Or like, God forbid an injury, or if, one of these 3 guys, their team loses, which, and my next 2, they do play each other at some point in the season. So one of them will lose. So yeah, Bryce Young, fucking dog.
I think we have the same number 3. Is it Blake Corum?
Yeah.
Yeah, we both got Blake Corum, which he didn't play this weekend. But I mean, when he is playing, this man's unstoppable.
13 touchdowns is like a lot. Even if some of them are kind of walk-ins, but like he's had like multiple like games where he's like just busted like 45-yard runs, like 60-yard runs.
I mean, look at that. Look at those yards. He's only had 1 game under 100 yards, and every other game has been like pretty far above.
I didn't watch this game, so I don't know what the fuck happened there. Like maybe
he probably got benched, because they're playing UConn. Like he probably just
thrown the shit out of that ball. Let's go check. What's going on here? Where?
It's week of 4. It looks like.
I was looking for Ohio State for some reason. I was like, where are they at? We'll dissect. We'll see what happens. It had the ball for a hot minute. Dick with the first downs, a bunch of yards, no turnovers. I mean, nobody's really standing out on the summary there. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns.
Still,
4,
you know what I mean?
5.
Like he didn't even.
He had 5 touchdowns, but like he wasn't pumping up a lot of yards. Like 5 touchdowns, like that's fucking crazy.
I mean, that makes up for the lack of yards. I mean, this guy, he's gonna like what grade is he in?
He's a junior.
He's going to the NFL. He's going first round. If he doesn't, you're stupid. Like
I'm just trying to like think of like should he stay? Because like so I'm trying to think like teams that like would take a running back in the first round.
Miami.
So like say he declares who realistically, like where they're drafting at, is taking a running back. I think Miami, Philly could do with a good running back.
Atlanta.
I mean, Miles Sanders is like Miles Sanders isn't it? Yeah, Atlanta. Cordell Patterson's old, but they need like other shit other than a running back. They're not taking a running back at the first round. That'd be dumb.
Well, it depends on
Miami definitely shouldn't. Miami definitely shouldn't be taking a running back in the first round. They need one.
If Miami's picking at like 25, I think they can afford to take running back around that time. It just depends on where Miami finishes.
I think that Miami should go defense.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they're set more mostly on the offense outside of like running back and maybe like a piece or 2 on the O-line. But yeah, you can't go wrong drafting an O-line or somebody on the defense, and that's realistically like what I would do. Who else? There's not a lot of teams that need running backs.
I mean,
some teams have like 3 running backs. You know what I'm saying? Like they could always fucking trade for somebody.
I can see him already play in the second round. I mean, like there's a lot of teams that could probably use another running back. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, most teams aren't running just one running back. They're running 2 to 3.
I'm thinking mid second round is where he'd go. unless he wins the Heisman, which would inflate him up even more, that would probably slide him into the first, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him being either late. Like, I think late first round is where I would see him, just depending on how he finishes out the season. But yeah, I mean, mid second round is probably like, I'll say actually probably early third round is probably like his floor, in like late first round is probably ceiling. Yeah.
To be honest with you, man, I don't think he's gonna win it.
Oh, I don't think he is either. I think it's gonna be between Hendon Hooker and CJ Stroud. He's like realistically,
he's gonna need to like rush for a whole lot of more yards and probably start like laying on some more touchdowns if he has a chance. Like 901, like that's good, but it's like it's just not enough.
See, the thing with Blake Corum though is I think if Michigan does run the ball all over Ohio State and Tennessee at this point has lost to Georgia or something, I think he has a very, very good shot of winning it.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the Ohio State game. Unless Tennessee wins out, which I don't know if they can do that. I hope they do. I don't know if they can.
I think they win out. I don't see him winning it. I like the kid. He's really, really good. The best running back in football, college football right now. Other than like, there's a couple other guys. Who's else? Who's good? I think Illinois has a good running back, if I'm not mistaken.
Doesn't Minnesota have a good running back?
I think wrong. So, maybe.
It's yeah, like Alabama has Jahmyr Gibbs.
There's like some weird teams that like aren't like ranked that have like ballers at running back like right now. I can't think of them off the top of my head. They're just not getting like attention because they're not on a good team.
Yeah, I mean, if your team's like 500 or less than 500, you could be the best player in the world, and you're not gonna be.
Unless I think unless you're on the defense and you're going nuts, like that's a pretty good chance. Like, but if you're on a quarterback, like that, the quarterback that was what fucking team does that guy play for? It was some like basement team, and the dude threw like for an absolute absurd like amount of touchdowns and yards. I think he broke like the single season touchdown record. It was like 2 years ago or something like that.
Wasn't it like a Central Michigan guy or something?
Yeah, something like that. Or...
I think I know who you're talking about.
Was it Zapp? Was it Bailey Zapp?
I think it might have been. Wasn't he Central Michigan? He might not have been, but Bailey Zappi, where is that man from?
Western Kentucky. Who was that? Was it him?
He had a crazy ass like.
Let's see. He threw for 62 touchdowns in last year. Okay, so like this fucking stat line is nuts. If this is happening at a big school, like you're a shoe in for the Heisman, like an absolute shoe in. Like look at that.
This would be like the best player of all time.
Look at that compared to like what Hendon Hooker is doing right now. 18 touchdowns, 2,000 yards. CJ Stroud 28 touchdowns, which he's pushing that, but like 62, that's fucking crazy. And that would never happen at a big school, like which is with the talent that you play against. So, like, I'm pretty sure Bailey Zapp's the guy I'm thinking of.
I think it just blows my mind that he was like a 6th round pick, like putting up those types of numbers. Granted, it was at Western Kentucky, but like
or like Gardner Minshew.
Oh yeah, he was balling out. Washington State. Jaguars legend.
He had another incredible fucking college. Maybe it's not Gardner Minshew. He only had 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns. Who else am I thinking of? I don't know. Irrelevant, but yeah, Bailey Zapp, like that stat line, it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. So,
but yeah, I do think Blake Corum, like I think there's 3 players that could realistically get it, and I do think Blake Corum does have a fair shot at it, depending on how the season shakes out. I think we're flip flopped at 1 and 2. I think you got Hendon Hooker and I got CJ Stroud at number 1.
Yeah, I got CJ Stroud too. So I guess you'll do Hendon Hooker. I guess I'll do, or do you want to do CJ Stroud since you got him number 1, and then I'll do Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do CJ Stroud. I think this man, he might, like, I don't know. He has such a great receiving core,
Yeah, he
but
does.
like as far as a pocket passer, he's probably the best since Burrow. He he's just got all these weapons to throw to. He hasn't looked bad once. Like, yeah, he does have
I
some
mean,
interceptions, but like,
it's like maybe he's averaging like one a game, so nothing too bad. He's not running the ball at all.
yeah, he's a
He's
strictly pocket passer for sure. But he's
eh,
getting the ball to where it needs to go, and he like no defense phases him. Like he could read defenses really well. He gets the ball to where it needs to be. He's calm all the time. I think Ohio State, like, to me, has the best shot of winning the championship just because of how polished that offense is, and the defense isn't bad either. But CJ Stroud, he's I don't know if there's a better player than him. Like, I want to put Hendon Hooker above him, but CJ Stroud hasn't looked bad at all. Like, I have not doubted CJ Stroud once this season. And maybe he gets upset or something and has a bad game, and then that puts things into perspective. But this guy, he's looking like the Heisman to me. He's looking like the number one overall pick. This is a really good player. Probably the best quarterback I've seen out of Ohio State in a long, long time. Probably since, well, I mean, we had Fields, we had
JT
Dwayne
Barrett,
Haskins, rest
Shaquille
in peace.
Barrett, or
Uh,
JT
JT
Barrett.
Barrett. Which didn't he
I think
get moved to receiver? No,
I think
that was Terrell Pryor.
I think it was Shaquille. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking of. I
Oh,
said
you're
Shaquille
thinking
Barrett. Cardale Jones.
Cardale Jones. Yeah, he was good. He was a
Yeah, they
good
had
quarterback.
him, JT, Justin Fields. So like, I think CJ Stroud's better than all three of them, like 100%.
Yeah, he's probably an all time great
But to
Ohio
be fair,
State
I think
player.
he's also got a better receiving core than all three of them had.
This is arguably the
Maybe,
best receiving core of college football history. I mean, I know that's like a
maybe
big
outside of
statement.
Justin Fields, because Justin Fields kind of had a pretty good receiving core too. But yeah,
Joe Burrow had a great receiving core as well.
fuck yeah, he did.
He had Jamar Chase. I mean, he had the Chiefs guy, the running back, who was a really good pass catcher as
Clyde
well.
Edwards-Helaire.
He had a Randy Moss's son as tight end. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
had a good receiving core as well, which is kind of ironic that he transferred from Ohio State. Uh,
Yeah.
but Ohio State, man, this is a great team. CJ Stroud, I think it just depends on how Hendon Hooker finishes out the season. I think if Hendon Hooker wins out and doesn't do anything glaringly bad, I think he could possibly win it. But I think it's a 3-man race, but I have CJ Stroud at the top of my list.
Fair enough.
What do you got to say about
Um,
Hendon Hooker?
I don't know. Like they're kind of close, like across the board. Like so, Hendon's got more yards, 10 less touchdowns, 3 less interceptions. The touchdown. The only reason I have him above CJ Stroud is because the Alabama win. He's got a better big win on the resume so far. So far, it might not stay that way. You know, I think if CJ Stroud, if they beat Penn State this weekend, I would probably move him to back to number one. Because Hendon Hooker, I can't remember. I think we looked. I'm the fucking memory of like a squirrel.
Kentucky.
So
So I mean,
Kentucky,
that's a pretty good team as well.
I still think the Penn State win because they're at 13, Kentucky's at 19. So depending on how each of them play against those two teams, I would maybe switch these two around. It's purely off that Alabama win on why I've got him over CJ Stroud. That game was incredible, absolutely incredible. He cooked Alabama in a bad way, just over the top all game. And he's actually rushing the ball pretty well. So like that's something CJ Stroud also doesn't have. So like he's got all those passing yards and then 1, 2, like pushing 300 yards rushing. So that's also a little bit extra that he's got over CJ. Whether or not they're going to value that in any way, which they should, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could go either way with these guys. So I mean, like it was tough to make a decision on these guys. I think just like CJ Stroud's stats kind of make him stand out a little bit more. But Hendon Hooker, he has more signature wins on his belt. You got Pitt, who was good team at the time. You got LSU
Florida,
just stomping
LSU, Bama,
them. Then you got Bama, and then
Ole Miss.
he has a good chance. Like if he beats Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, and then wins the SEC championship, like they just went out.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
see how you give anybody else the Heisman. Because Ohio State's not gonna get an opportunity to play that many good teams to where CJ Stroud couldn't have those type of signature wins. But yeah, I mean that's our Heisman top five. I mean it's pretty easy to go with at this point for those three guys, a top three. But
yeah, I agree. It's
I knew that's who you're gonna pick for game of the week.
Like this game was great. This is a very good game.
I was considering putting it up there.
Which way did you go?
So for my game of the week, it was a game I was very entertained by the whole way. I was on the edge of my seat. I just hated the way it shaked out, and that was a Syracuse Clemson. That was it was a really fun game to watch.
It made me mad.
It pissed me off. Mad. It really pissed me off. But that game, it had the drama, like it had the comeback element. It had the benching the quarterback, just like the crazy things that happen in college football.
This is another thing I can't get over. Like, Clemson turned the ball over 4 fucking times, and Syracuse still found a way to like lose. Like that's my thing. Was like they lost this game themselves.
They gave the game to Clemson, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I was not happy with this game, but it was very entertaining.
I'm fucking sick of Will Shipley. What's up with the Shipley boys and beating up on people? The two Shipley dudes at Texas. Was it Shipley or what was it?
Yeah, it was Jordan Shipley and I can't remember the other guy. I remember I hated those guys.
I wonder if they're related. Coming back to fucking haunt both of our teams.
He had his first fumble of the season. Yeah. And he was like distraught after it. I mean, he bounced back. Dabo didn't even get mad at him. He was just like he was shaking off.
He just dicked all over him. Gross.
Will Shipley is a great player. He's a fantastic player.
I'm sick of him. Sick.
Fantastic player. I honestly don't like the team.
He's the only reason they won outside of Syracuse, losing the game themselves. It was all Will Shipley.
I was not happy with any of that game, but it was the most emotionally invested I was into a game the whole week, like the most into it I was. And also I just kind of knew Jaden was gonna pick Texas versus Oklahoma State because I really liked that game as well. That was probably gonna be like it was one of that game or the other game.
Yeah, and I agree.
I knew Jaden was fucking with the OSU win.
Hell yeah. I like OSU, man. I'm for it. This game was kind of like way closer than it should have been with how bad Quinn Ewers played. It's also part of the fact of like why OSU is like not as good as everybody, as good as they should be. They're not winning convincingly. Like this game, they should have blown Texas out. They letting them. They didn't take the lead until they won. Like Oklahoma State, they didn't take the lead until the third, like 3 minutes left in the game. Like that's bad with how bad Quinn Ewers played.
I mean, Texas really looked like they're going to win that game for a big chunk of it.
They really relied on Bijan Robinson and then Quinn Ewers making really big chunk plays because he only completed 19 passes for 319 yards. Like that's a lot of big chunks on only 19 completions. They're lucky he threw 3 interceptions. Those are all the turnovers that they were able to get. They almost doubled the first downs, completely even almost in yards. They should have lost. I thought Texas was going to come in to Stillwater and just beat them down. If Quinn Ewers was 100% focused, it could have happened. Very, very, very entertaining game. It was close for the most part all the way through. Like, yeah, here, they're up 31-17. That's a little much. And then, Oklahoma State kind of closed the gap and made it an entertaining game. And then I think their defense kind of was like, at this point, was like, all right, we need to fucking figure out what we're doing and, get some stops. And they did.
Yeah, I mean, Texas really isn't as bad as people think they are. In my opinion, like Texas should not be losing to Oklahoma State every year. Like it's just crazy to me that Oklahoma State has beat them like so many years in a row. I think there's like maybe been like one loss from Oklahoma State in like the past like 6 years, and Oklahoma State just has their number. I wanted Texas to win this game. Like, this is the only game of the whole entire year where I was like, hook them. Well, actually, the Alabama game too, but like 2 games this year, I root for them. They suck. Any other time they win. If I want them to play bad, they win. If I want them to play good, they suck. Man, I mean, congrats to Oklahoma State though. I mean, it's a good win. Mike Gundy coached well. I mean, they had 0 penalties the whole game. Spencer Sanders,
no fucking way.
He was kind of like, Spencer Sanders is like, he's a gunslinger. He's not.
Threw 57 times,
but he comes through. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna take a little quick break, real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said earlier, I think Texas is back, but like in not the way Texas fans want them to be back. Like they're back into some sort of relevance. They have some talent. They got the guy in Quinn Ewers. They got a really good coach, Sarkisian. I like him. I think they're probably a year out from being like back. They're kind of right there in that Florida State boat. If I'm going to be honest, maybe even 2 years. Well, I don't know what Texas's recruiting class is looking like for next year or the year previous, but I'm pretty sure it was probably at least the top 12. So that's beneficial to them. They got talent coming in. Texas is a huge program. People want to go play for Texas, so it's not like they're going to not have. They're not going to have issues, bringing people to the school to compete. So I'm thinking a year, 2 max, and then they're actually back.
We got people. That Michigan fan, he's getting roasted in the comments. Like, people are arguing with him.
Are you all right now? Like, are you looking at it right now?
Like 3 minutes ago, somebody was like talking.
Oh shit!
He's like, maybe I'll need to start playing motherfuckers because you ain't beating a top-notch SEC team. It's so funny. Like,
this guy said 3-score lead at home versus Alabama and almost got beat. Yeah, that's true. Tennessee, they did let Alabama come back and score 18 straight points on like 5 straight drives, which was there was like 5 straight drives where they couldn't stop them. So
that comment made me think that people think we're Tennessee fans.
No, we're really not. I just really like seeing them.
We had 2 videos in a row where I put Tennessee in like the title. I'm not gonna put Tennessee this week.
Let's see here. Stop drinking, my guy. Those 2 teams are playing cupcakes right now. I think no one can beat OSU. I don't know about Michigan. Yeah, I don't. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love people commenting and arguing in the comment section. This is what I envisioned when we started this. Yeah, I'll comment, argue with us. I mean, argue with whoever, man. I will debate.
I will argue with anybody on anything, and if I don't know it, I'll find out, and then I'll argue with you.
Keep commenting. We hit 1,400. Like, that's crazy.
That's insane. You love to see it.
That was our most commented, most liked, most viewed, most disliked. Just had everything.
People going at each other in the comments. I'm for the ruthlessness.
What was our next? What is our next topic? Man, it's most disappointing performance by a team. I don't even. Is it Iowa?
Oh no, I had UCLA.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad because we already talked about Iowa enough. I had Iowa, so
yeah, we'll
just disregard that. Yeah,
I actually completely forgot about Iowa when I was looking at this one. The only reason that I can say I wanted to pick UCLA is because they were so hot, and then they would just weren't in this game in at all. They were down bad. It was 31-13 in halftime. That's terrible. They were getting blown out at half. They did come back and kind of made it somewhat competitive, but it was just too little, too late. Offense was not cooking like they should have been. Like I feel like I thought he had more carries. I could swear he was pushing 30, but
he had a good game.
Yeah, they had a good game like on offense for the most part. It's just defense. They
couldn't stop a nosebleed. Like they were just.
It was like a shootout, but like they're not scoring, so it's not a shootout. You know what I'm saying? They're just kind of like. It's like the only way I could describe this game. It was a shootout, but it wasn't at the same time. It was pretty clean game. Only one turnover from fucking Dorian. First downs, they weren't too far off. Possessions, they're not too. That's like one drives with the possessions or possession time and yards, like about 100 off. But I don't know. I was a little disappointed in UCLA. I turned this game on expecting them to just come in and stomp out Oregon, which was
me too.
It would have made my weekend because I don't like Oregon. I really don't. I don't know why, other than my playoff bias when they beat us. That's like the only reason.
I was just so excited to see like UCLA. They probably would have been like 7-6 if they won this game. I was just like, yeah, UCLA finally getting up there, and then they shit the bed, man. It's disappointing. Right.
They were 9, so they were Oklahoma State was. I think if they beat Oregon, I think they're sitting at 6. I think they jump Bama. I think they're sitting here. Bama moves to 7. TCU probably sitting at 8.
No, that's probably where you'd have them. So I was just excited. Like UCLA, they've always kind of been like USC's little brother, and this is their year to really prove themselves. And I mean, they still, in my opinion, they still are better than USC, but like, they're probably not getting in the playoffs unless they have to win out, and then they have to beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship and redeem that loss. And I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, there's like a lot of things that could happen. I think so. The way I was looking at the Pac-12, like most likely USC and UCLA are going to be one loss going into that game, probably. So you got, if UCLA beats USC, I think they're in the Pac-12 championship.
They already beat USC, didn't they?
No, Utah beat.
Yeah, Utah. For some reason, I think I said it earlier. UCLA beat USC. I don't know why. I think they already played.
Yeah. Utah beat USC, and then UCLA beat Utah. I think if Utah beats Oregon,
that'll make it real interesting.
Yeah, if Utah beats Oregon and UCLA beats USC, I think it'd be a Utah UCLA Pac-12 championship. But if Utah beats Oregon and then USC beats UCLA, I think it ends up being UCLA versus USC in the Pac-12. Yeah, and if Oregon beats Utah, they're in.
Yeah, Pac-12 is real weird.
Do you think there's going to be a Pac-12 playoff team? I don't know if there will be.
It's going to have to be a one-loss team, obviously, because they've all lost one. So if they lose any more than one, Oregon's probably got the best shot, just based off of I think the bias towards the program.
And their only loss is to Georgia. Granted, it was a stomping.
Maybe USC. It's got to be one of those two. UCLA. I don't think the bias towards the program would, like, a one-loss team. They're not getting in over like a one-loss Bama. It's not happening.
Yeah. Which, unfortunately, I think it's I think there's a real shot of it just being Big Ten versus SEC again.
Yeah. Honestly, if I was a UCLA fan, I wouldn't really be too upset. Like I would take some pride in like how well like the team's done comparatively to how they've been in the past, God knows how long. Like this,
they weren't even top 25 to start the season. So I mean, this is
this is a great performance, and they could still win out. They could still win the Pac-12. So I don't think they have a chance to make the playoffs, unfortunately. So if I was a UCLA fan, I would be happy so far with the performance. But yeah, this game would leave kind of like a bad taste in my mouth because I know UCLA could have won this game. Just the defense is just super suspect.
Yeah, I think
Maybe a
I
couple
just
plays kind
I
of go
want
different
some
way.
I want some chaos to happen to where some teams that normally wouldn't get in. Like I want Bama to lose. I want this season to
I can't wait for the 12-team
take a
playoff, man.
turn.
It's gonna be fucking incredible.
I hope they like. There's talks about them trying to speed up the process to being like next year. That'd
Oh,
be
please,
amazing. That'd be
please.
amazing. And then like I feel
It'll
like OU and
12
Florida State
teams,
both
man.
have a great shot at making it in a 12 team.
Yeah, honestly, you win. Because if you win your conference, you're automatically in. I think no matter your record,
Yeah,
like it's
then like the rest is like
guaranteed,
at large. Yeah,
guaranteed 5 conference champions. So you could be fucking negative, and win your conference. You could have like five wins and somehow win your conference, and you're in the playoffs, which would be crazy. Because you imagine like a 5-6 win team winning the championship.
you never know.
It's doable. Anything could happen. Like it's very, very small chance if you're playing like an Alabama team in like the first game. But like hypothetically, like the season ended now in 12 team playoffs. Like
That'd be so
honestly,
fun to watch.
any
All
of these
these
teams
teams.
could compete. Like it'd be like Wake Forest. Oh, I think they was a top 4 have buys or some shit.
Yeah, something like that. So it'd be
Yeah,
like
so it'd be like
UCLA be
Clemson,
playing
Wake Forest.
Clemson.
Would it be 5 against 12, like type thing?
If the top four have a bye, then wouldn't it be
Yeah,
5 versus 12?
yeah, I think it'd be 5 versus 12. So it'd be Clemson, Wake Forest rematch. It'd be Alabama,
Oh yeah, because
USC.
USC and Wake's Forest
That
are
would be a
tied.
crazy cool game. Actually, that wouldn't make sense because then Oklahoma State would be playing TCU, and then Oregon wouldn't have anybody to play. So maybe it'd only be top 2 teams or some shit.
That makes more sense.
I don't know.
Actually.
I don't. I don't care.
We don't care about the math. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Quick math. I'm not good, but you know what I mean. So it'd be so good this year. This is like the year you would want it to happen because all these teams are competitive.
That's what I was
compared to
actually.
like
I was having
previous
that same
years.
thought. Like I feel like any of these teams could actually win in the playoffs.
Right, compared to like previous years, like they would be like struggling to fill that 4th spot when they're like, oh, none of these teams would compete. Like they put Cincinnati in, and then it was like, we kind of have to. This year, like if they did it, it'd be insane, like absolutely insane. There'd be so many like chances for upsets or upsets. I think it could easily happen. Like, don't discount that fucking slow mesh for Wake Forest. Don't discount Caleb Williams just coming in and just having a career game. Same with Oklahoma State. Bo Nix just did it. TCU's looking real stout. Alabama's Alabama. Clemson's a fucking liability. I think Clemson's just bad. I still think they're bad.
I don't think they're bad, but I think they're not.
They're not as good as everyone
thinks.
thinks.
As the rest of the teams in the playoff running, I think they would lose to. Where did I say? I said like probably around 10. Like after Oklahoma State, I think they could probably beat the rest of them. But like from 9 and up, I think they could easily lose to Oklahoma State. They could easily lose to Oregon. They could lose to TCU. Bama, they would get destroyed. Michigan, they'd get destroyed.
You know what? I hope they make it in, and I hope they get blown the fuck out, like 50-0, like type shit. Just please decimate them.
Watch them just win. Like they just win the whole thing.
There's no way. Unless the team they play just has like historically bad game, where their defense wants to finally show up, like everybody thinks.
I don't think their defense is as good as people say. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like they're playing. First off, they're playing ACC teams.
Their rushing offense is the only thing that's carrying that team. It's fucking Will Shipley. Yeah, if you can stop the run, you can stop Clemson. I've said that. I think I said that last week.
And Syracuse.
And nobody can fucking do it.
They almost did. Syracuse had them. They blew the fucking lead, man. Syracuse was dominating that game. They're up 21-10 at one point. I was like, this is Syracuse's game.
I want to punch myself in the face after watching that game. I'm going to spit in the air into my own mouth.
I know where you are, like as a fan. Like your team your team has no shot. So like at this point, you're just rooting for Clemson to lose. Like
I'm rooting for chaos.
I just want Clemson to lose. That's all I want.
And I mean, I don't know. Oh no, you gotta wrap him up.
We're gonna lose this game.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I'm kind of casually glancing over, and like you guys just somehow cannot stop the Bears offense.
Yeah, we should.
I think the Bears have like a really high rushing offense this year, like probably like let's say top 3 like rushing attempt offense with David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert.
I think we'll bounce back though. I think if we just if this is the end of Mac Jones, I think we'll be fine the rest of the way. Hopefully this doesn't turn into like, oh, should we start Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi? I hope it's just like we're done with Mac Jones. Just wash our hands. Like Mac Jones, you did a fine job for 1 year, but your time has passed and you are just not it. You are a solid backup in the league. You did good in Alabama. You're oddly shaped as a person. You're just an oddly shaped dude, man. You just look weird.
I think next week they just got to do rock paper scissors to see who starts.
Did you see? Did you see Mac Jones like when he walked, like when he was like getting drafted? He looked so weird. Like he had the weirdest walk ever. Like he was just like walking weird.
He's a reptile, man.
He's one of those dude.
He's one of those reptile people.
Fucking Mac Jones, man.
Moving on. Yeah, disappointing performance. We got UCLA and Iowa, obviously.
Bounce back. I got Penn State.
Bounce back. Yeah, I got Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, man.
We skipped the favorite team talk and the coaches on the hot seat, but we can reconvene after.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
Yeah. Who do you got for bounce back?
Penn State. They just came off that major loss to Michigan, and they whooped Minnesota. And Minnesota is not the worst team in the world. It's not like Minnesota is a bunch of scrubs, but they came back. They played good.
Finally had a good game.
He's not like a terrible quarterback. I mean, they lost the time of possession, but they had it pretty even. First downs looking good, total yards looking good, turnovers.
That's crazy. That time of possession, you only managed 17.
It just shows you how quickly Penn State is scoring. I think Penn State, they're still fraud. Like they're not gonna, like, they can maybe make a New Year's now. If they'll make a New Year's 6, maybe like a really good non-New Year's 6 game.
If they make a New Year's 6 game, I think they get put down bad. Like that Michigan game.
Do they beat Tulane in a New Year's 6 game?
I don't know. Fucking who has Tulane played? I probably, but I don't know.
Some website already had came out with like it might have been like CBS or ESPN. I don't think it's ESPN. It's like CBS. Like they already came out with their bowl game projections, and they had Tulane playing USC in the Cotton Bowl for a New Year's 6 game.
Tulane's getting beat by any of those schools. Like I'm happy for them that they're 7-1 in the rankings. Like that's cool, but I don't think they have the talent to compete with anybody. Like fucking, they've already beat K-State, so I think they could probably beat Cincy. I think other than Cincy, 21 and up, they're losing to all. I think
they could beat Penn State, because I mean, like, do you think K-State would beat Penn State? I think they could if they are fully healthy.
If they had Adrian Martinez, yeah, but they don't. I mean,
Tulane.
And they beat K-State with Adrian Martinez, so.
I think it's a possibility. I mean, I think Utah, they lose. Ole Miss, they probably lose. Syracuse, they lose. Illinois, they'd get whooped.
They might not score on Illinois.
Kentucky, they probably lose if they're fully healthy. Even like, I can see them losing to South Carolina. Like really, if like Spencer, he hasn't thrown an interception in a while. I'll give him that. Like, they're not letting him throw very much. So that might be why.
Probably.
Spencer, man, just keep with it. You'll be a 3rd round pick next year, maybe.
I like on the coaches poll that Florida State doesn't have a vote.
They said,
you'd see it.
What's the difference between the coaches poll? What do they have different?
I think that the coaches of the Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. No one out there. He was like asking like what they were.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. USC, they have them just
Wake
like
Forest
definitive
mid.
as
It's
11.
like right in here's.
Ole Miss is a way higher on their list. UCLA, they have a UCLA lower. LSU, they have lower. South Carolina, they have in the same spot.
I mean,
Interesting.
it's the same teams. There's no like new team on the coaches poll that's not on the AP poll. All right. I got Oklahoma State bounce back. You know, they lost last week. You know, for the life of me, I just can't even remember who they played. I'm drawing blanks. Yeah, they got beat by TCU in a very, very close game. They could have won that game. I say that a lot. Could have won those games. That's one they could have won. And then they come back at home, homecoming, still almost lose, but they find a way to win. That's a comeback performance if I've ever seen one. Played a good game. They weren't even projected to win all the way until into the fourth quarter. So I fucks with it.
Yeah, I mean,
we've already kind of talked about this game, so I don't want to like cover it too much, but they did bounce back. A very, very close loss. They could have lost this game.
It'll be very nice to see them get, in the playoff picture, to get beat by OU at the end of the season will destroy their playoff hopes. I'll have. I was looking at tickets for that game. Holy shit, they're expensive. Like so expensive. Like the Baylor game, I was looking at that. I was like, ain't bad. Like $72 for like a seat, like from where we were sitting. I was like, ain't bad. The OSU, I was looking at an OSU game, and they're cheap. Like you can get like right up there for like the cost of like a nosebleed OU game.
Yeah.
I was like, I might go to one this year. I don't know. Like I don't know how I'd fit in with the crowd. Like
just I
don't want to get jumped. Like I don't want to get jumped. Like
just here's an observer.
Got my OU shirt on, just OU face paint, just
wouldn't be a great idea.
Get murdered after the game.
In the parking lot. Yeah. Hey Gilmore, I'll see you in the parking lot. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Okay. Yeah, we've already touched on this. Like I said, we'll move on.
Let's see. What do we got? Favorite team talk?
Yeah, we could do coaches in the hot seat first if you want.
Yes.
It's kind of the same for me. I still got Brian Hardison. I don't know.
He's my number one for sure.
I don't know how that man's still fucking on the team. And then I've moved Jimbo Fisher back into
he's number two for me. That's only the two really I have is those two. Jimbo Fisher, man, 3-4 after you're like projected to be a playoff team. Those I was sixth to start the year. Paul Feinbaum was like reporting, which I mean, like, you could take that with a grain of salt. He's not a bad reporter, but I mean, these ESPN guys, you never know with them. But basically, he was saying like Texas A&M probably is not going to get rid of him this year, but like if he sucks next year, he was like those oil tycoons will find the money to buy him out. Like they're done with him. Like they if they could do it this year, they would. I think they just don't have the money to do it. But like next year, they'll figure it out.
I think we talked about it in a previous episode. They'd be paying him like I think it's like 6 or 7 years, like a fucking dickload of money. So
you know who else should get fired at the same time? Their athletic director for giving them that fucking deal. Get rid of him too, for dumbass.
The 10-year deals are absurd. Like I would get like a Nick Saban 10-year deal. Like if you are a proven coach with like a proven like record of winning, recruiting, the whole nine. Okay, yeah, you can pull the trigger on the 10, but like you just hired that motherfucker after having a terrible he did win a championship in FSU, but because of Jameis Winston.
The last few years weren't that good, were they? I mean, I don't remember.
We were bad. And he let our team go to a fucking shit. So like that's an obvious like inclination into like how like he could potentially cheat your team, you know what I mean? Like he gave up on us. He
could, I mean, like a 5 year, like they could have given him a 5
year, yeah, okay. He'd be fucking at the end of his 5 years right now.
I mean, like they are. I know they're regretting this. That athletic director is going. He's going with them. He's going with them.
I'd be pissed if I was
those oil
fan.
tycoons. They're throwing that money to get rid of that man. Who do you think they would replace him with? Is my question.
Fuck, I don't know.
TCU's offense coordinator is kind of a hot name right now.
I would go after some NFL guy, like some coordinator or something in the NFL. That's what I would do.
That's fair.
Scott Frost.
Scott Frost. Yeah, Matt Rule.
Matt Rule would be a great pick. That man was killing it in college.
He's a good coach. He's a very good coach. I mean, there's a handful of names you could go after. Yeah, you probably want to go with somebody more low key, not such a big name. Not like Jimbo Fisher was a flashy name. I get why they made the hire, but like, oh, Jimbo Fisher, national championship winning coach. But I mean, you got to look at the fact. You got to look at some things when you factor this into it. Jimbo took over for an already established Florida State program with Bobby Bowden, who for a year
he was kind of bad towards the end of his tenure.
Yeah, I mean, but they were still like ranked. I mean, you guys had some good quarterbacks during you guys had like Christian Ponder during like Bobby Bowden's last season, I think.
EJ Manuel.
I mean, it wasn't like terrible. And then I mean, Jimbo takes over and you guys look really good for a couple of years, and then it just kind of goes slowly downhill after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Jimbo, you're not looking good. Brian Harsin, I don't know. I think maybe they're just waiting until the end of the season. Like, might as well just finish it out and just.
Fucking maybe, man. He's
they're gonna fire him on the field like Herman.
Dude's like a shoe in for being fired. Like if you can never be sure of anything on anybody being fired, like he's it.
Watch them keep him. Like
if they fucking keep winning and they win out, if they beat Bama, like there's no way they fire them, man. Oh, there's a holding.
We've already lost this game. I've accepted that.
Yeah, you guys are getting fucked up. I had.
Yeah, but it's 8 minutes left. Yeah, there's no way. There's absolutely no way we're gonna win this game. I'm just hoping for another score.
I'd be upset.
Oh my god, that's interception. Wow. That's game.
Is Mac Jones? Is that him?
No, that was Bailey Zappi. He got tipped off a receiver, but
I'm still watching the last.
There's a penalty. Who's on the ground? That dude looks dead.
Just give up, Nick.
No, we're gonna make the playoffs. No, we're not gonna make the playoffs, but we're gonna be good. We're gonna finish the season out strong. Bailey's happy. He's our guy. Belichick's learned his lesson. Mac Jones, we'll send you to back up Brady in Tampa Bay or something. We'll trade you for Kyle Trask. If he's even still on the Buccaneers, I don't know at this point. Did you see Mike Evans drop that wide? I know you're probably pissed. I mean, granted, you're already whooping my ass basically, but that was a for sure touchdown. He just dropped.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Unfortunately.
So we going into favorite team talk now. Florida State. Who you guys got up next? Georgia Tech.
Got Georgia Tech. This should be a fucking blowout if I've ever seen one. It should be looking like this Duquesne and Boston College matchup. Like, if it turns into this like Louisville type game, because like honestly, they're not even close to the same talent as these three teams and LSU. They're more so I don't know, like a Boston College level. I think Georgia Tech did just beat Boston College this week. Fuck. Never mind. I don't care. Pretty sure they beat Boston College, but it was like kind of a low scoring game. I think it was single digits or some shit, if I'm not mistaken, or close to. So if we're not hanging 40 on Georgia Tech and holding them to less than 10, I'll be disappointed because we're kind of getting healthy and we're kind of figuring things out a little bit. Like these games, like they're close. They're close games. I've said it. We could have won all of these. Could have. This is a completely like 100% chance winning game. Like 100%. There's no way we lose this game. Zero, unless even if Jordan Travis gets hurt, we still win this game.
You're putting a lot.
The stadium would have to collapse in on itself, and they have to reschedule, and we play on like a Tuesday at like fucking 9 a.m. It's the only way we lose.
I mean, you guys are on a good like 2-game stretch. You got Georgia Tech, you got Miami. Get the confidence back up before you go into Syracuse.
I'm pretty sure we beat Syracuse. I think we can beat Syracuse. I think we can.
I think you guys could I think you guys
I
could
think
win
we can
out.
win
I don't
out.
think you guys will
Yeah.
win out, but I think you guys could win out. I think Florida's probably going to get you at the end. I think
It'll
that's the
be
game you
tough.
lose. I think Florida's the game you lose.
Luckily, we are at home. I think it really is going to depend on Anthony Richardson. What's he kind of doing?
He's a wild card. You never know.
He's a wild card. He's either Cam Newton 2.0 or he's not.
Just a loser. I wouldn't go that far, but he's inconsistent.
If he's playing like at his full capacity, I'm pretty sure we will lose because we struggle against the running QBs and our run defense is just fucking trash. And we can't really focus on him running the ball and the running back at the same time. It's going to be a recipe for disaster. But if he's off, maybe we got a packed stadium. We can rattle him. We can come out hot, and our defense can get off the field. We can easily win that game. I'm guaranteeing we win these 4. I'm thinking this one will be it could be coin flip.
I would say you have 2 potential losses here at Syracuse and Florida. You're at Syracuse, so I mean that could be a challenge. I think Syracuse, like I said earlier, could get a little deflated after this loss to Clemson. Could hurt their confidence quite a bit. They could start slipping. I think you guys' confidence is going to be up. You most likely, unless some crazy scenario happens, you're going to be on a 2-game winning streak, feeling pretty good about yourself going into Syracuse. Now Syracuse has been exposed a little bit. You guys could beat them. Then it's just Florida. It's a rivalry, though. I mean, you never know with those rivalry games. You really don't.
Yeah. On the Syracuse front, I feel like our offense is just too good for them to stop us. Our receivers are really good. If Jordan Travis has time in the pocket, can throw, and we can run the ball. That's our big thing. If we can run the ball, we're golden. Our defense will be fine. They'll fucking figure it out. If they don't, then we just gotta score. So I feel like we'll be locked in come Syracuse. We're blowing Georgia Tech out. We're blowing Miami out.
Yeah.
We beat Syracuse by 14. We hang 64 on Louisiana. And then we beat Florida. I'm going to go 34-24.
I'd probably have it flipped the other way.
Fuck you, Nick.
That's kind of my feeling on it.
But I mean,
granted, it is at Florida State, so I do think that gives you guys kind of a bit of an advantage. It's a great home stadium to have some home field advantage with. I think all of these games are winnable though on Florida State's front. I mean, we're still we don't know who Florida State quite is yet. That's kind of where we're at with the team. I mean, you look at those first few weeks, they looked really, really good. And then now they're on a 3-game win streak or losing streak. So it's kind of what team are we going to get? And who is this team actually?
That's also true. We also got a lot of recruiting aspect riding on these 2 games here, in-state recruiting. We get people that are maybe torn between Miami and us, or trying to flip some Miami recruits that we might want to get Florida recruits. So that's another key aspect in those 2 games that most people wouldn't really even think about. And also just winning out finishing the season strong too, not we're coming off 3 fucking straight losses, and if we just roll over and die, the season's over. There's no hope for us. If that's the type of team we're gonna be, it's gonna have a really negative impact on our recruiting. But if we come out strong, blowout, win, that's just going to improve our recruiting even better, which we really need.
I think it was a great time for you guys to have a bye week, to kind of just regroup after, kind of just a terrible 3-week stretch. It was just, they were close games. I mean, they were not bad games, but it was just the worst stretch you could possibly have. If those games were spread out, that might have been a different situation. But you got the three essentially, I mean, three of the best 5 teams in the ACC in a row.
Yeah.
Now it's like, how do you guys respond? Like, are you guys just gonna roll over it? Or are you guys just gonna, say, hey, we lost these 3 games, but we got to bounce, but we got to make the best out of what we can do this season and just build towards next season, and maybe get a good bowl game.
Norvell's not. I can't see him just letting us come out. We could come out a little sloppy. I could see it to start the game. I could see it. I don't think we will. He's that guy. He's gonna. We've had a whole week to to like tone some shit up. Tune into this fucking game. Like all right, we lost 3 games. Our big games are over with. Who cares? Like the season's kind of a wash, but it's not at the same time. In a perfect world, I would have probably taken the bye week in between Wake Forest and NC State.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good time for it. I mean, the NC State game, you guys should have won that game.
Yeah, should have won that Wake Forest game too.
I mean, the Clemson, yeah. I mean, like, it was honestly really good that you guys even got that close.
If we had a healthy defensive line, I think we win all 3 of those.
The NC State one was just the one, like, you guys had that game in the bag.
And we hurt their quarterback. We still lose. Yeah, if we have Fabian Lovett, a fully 100% Jared Verse, and some more depth on the D line, different story. Our run defense is non-existent. That's what's killing us.
Yeah. But
all right.
See how the rest of the season shakes out for Florida State, but got an interesting schedule. Now we shift into OU. I mean, we come back against Iowa State at Iowa State. They're a tough team to play. I think we're gonna win though.
I hate Iowa State for some reason.
We're gonna win that game. Baylor's like the team that's gonna be kind of a challenge. Baylor's kind of off and on the season, kind of similar way that OU is. Some weeks they look really good, some weeks they don't. I mean, I think we're gonna win Iowa State. I could actually see us, like, we're coming off a bye week. We just came off a really good win against Kansas. We had some injuries, some guys are getting healthy again. Even Dylan Gabriel, that was just his first game back against Kansas. He might not have been quite 100%. And then, I mean, we got Eric Gray. I don't know if you've seen this stat, but Eric Gray is leading the country in yards per carry with 7.2 per carry.
That guy's super fast, elusive, and he can break some tackles.
He was running all over people at the Kansas game, and we're at it. I mean, there's that one play where he ran for a touchdown and they called like holding or something, and they moved him even further back. Then he just ran for a touchdown like the very next play. That man is nuts. So yeah, I mean, going into the rest of our schedule, I think we beat Iowa State. Baylor is kind of the question mark. I think we do beat Baylor. I think West Virginia is kind of a game I'm really nervous about, because West Virginia is a team people are kind of forgetting about, but they're really not bad. I mean, they got what's his face?
JT Daniels.
They got JT Daniels. They've had some sparks this season where they looked really good. I guarantee the win against Oklahoma State, sticking to it. Texas Tech, I think we could lose that game. Texas Tech is just one of those teams, like they almost got Oklahoma State. They got Texas, and we're at Lubbock. So I think we could lose that game. I think that, yeah, like the Baylor and Oklahoma State, I think we win. I think we beat Iowa State. And I know Oklahoma State's a bold pick, but they're coming in Norman. They are our little brothers. I mean, they're our little brother. I mean, Oklahoma State is OU's little brother. I mean, I know they've had a couple good seasons, and they think they're the best. They're the best in Oklahoma.
They kind of are right now.
We'll see in November when we beat them. I know it's coming. We
might need to put some money on this game, Nick.
I know it's coming. I almost want to go to it. Like, I almost want to, but I'm like, I don't, because it's so expensive. But I'm like,
yeah.
But I mean, like, there's only this might be the last Bedlam game ever. So I'm like, do I want to go? Like, I might not get another chance to. I mean, it's not gonna be the last one ever, but but it's gonna be the last one for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I kind of want to go just to experience it one time because I've never gone. But yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna be good as long as everybody stays healthy. Dylan Gabriel has to stay healthy. If Dylan Gabriel gets hurt,
100%.
we are
you'll
we
lose
lose
all
every
of
single
those.
game. Yeah, we have to have Dylan Gabriel.
Pick 6.
For fuck's sake.
No, they got him. Damn, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, this was a terrible game for the Patriots. Terrible game.
I don't know. I think you guys, barring a Dylan Gabriel injury, I'm thinking 4-1. Best case, worst case, 3-2. With that, beating Iowa State, beating Baylor, beating West Virginia, and then lost Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. But I think best case, you guys only lose to OK State. I think regardless, you're losing to Oklahoma State.
That's the one game I'm most sure about. Honestly,
the team's
more
just
sure
too
about
good.
Oklahoma State than Iowa State. Like honestly,
they're just too good. But like the rivalry factor and history plays so much in you guys' favor. Like everybody on that Oklahoma State team is going into this game like, all right, yeah, Oklahoma's been beating the shit out of us. Like we've lost OU before. All the seniors, like they beat you guys last year, right?
Yeah, they beat us like in a really, really close one.
Yeah, and then before that, when was the last time they beat you guys? Before
then? It was like a 5 or 6 game OU winning streak before that.
Right. So there's seniors on this team that have only beat you guys one time. So that they know, the implications and the of winning this game or potentially like losing, like what's like the just trash talking that's gonna come their way. Like there's a lot riding on this. I think more so for OSU, also because they're borderline a playoff team. So there's so much on OSU, it could just crush them.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, we don't give a shit. Last Bedlam game, we're going to the SEC. Our season is already fucking over. Like, who gives a shit? They got nothing to lose. That's another a really big factor for like NOU's favor.
I think OSU definitely has more pressure going into that game. They're going to be a lot more nervous. They're playing in Norman. This is maybe the last Bedlam game. If it's not this year, it's probably going to be next year. I hope there's one. I hope there's one more. I really hope this isn't the last one.
There's no way after you guys move to the SEC, they don't schedule some out of conference game with OSU every now and again. There's no way.
I think they're going to come to an agreement. I think right now they're just both being really stubborn and
maybe like every other year they play.
I mean, why can't we just do it like a Florida State? They're not in the same conference. They play every year. Or South Carolina, Clemson, they play every year.
Last game of the year. Who else does that? Georgia, Florida play every year.
Yeah,
but they're same conference.
Same conference.
What are some non-conference teams that play every year? Those are kind of the big ones. I can't even think of any.
I mean, the only two I can think of are South Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State. Like they're always playing each other. In the end,
there's more. I just can't think of any.
Yeah, there definitely is more. I mean, like I know USC and Notre Dame play each other like quite a bit. I would say almost every year. I think like they missed the 2020 season because it was like only conference only.
Yeah,
there might have been a couple other years where they didn't play each other, but typically they play each other every year. Granted, like Notre Dame doesn't even have a conference technically. I hope they keep this rivalry up. It's such a fun rivalry, especially in Oklahoma. The shit talking and like the winner just gets bragging rights for like a year, and you never hear the end of it. And if you lose, you hate it, and you just like you want to beat the other teams. You want to beat a fan's ass like for talking.
You don't even talk about football the rest of the year. You're just quiet. I'm not gonna say shit.
It's so flamed. Good. But yeah, I mean OU. I mean like we're not winning a Big 12 championship. We're not going to the playoffs. We're definitely not getting a New Year's Six. So our goal is just to win out.
Make a decent bowl game.
If we can make like the Holiday Bowl again, or the Alamo Bowl, or just like kind of a better
a decent team
game. Like we play like let's say we play I don't know, like maybe Florida State would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be sick. We'd beat the shit out of you guys. You don't want to know this. You don't want to know this.
Florida State would be interesting. Who else is like a kind of a good matchup?
That'd be great.
NC State would be kind of cool. I mean, granted, their quarterbacks are, so it wouldn't be that cool.
If we play you guys in a bowl game, I'll buy. Oh, I think I might be gone. If I'm still here, I would buy tickets to that game, 100%.
Well, it'd probably be a December game because
hell yeah, I would go.
It wouldn't be a New Year's 6 or like a January game. I would go to that shit. That'd be fun as hell.
I wonder what the chances of us like getting a bowl game, like, because realistically, if you guys went out and we went out, we would have the same record.
There's a good shot. No, they could
and
play each other.
And if you guys drop a game at OK State and we drop a game at like Florida, we'd still have the same record. That'd be dope. I think there's something like with bowl games and matching like conferences, like they match like certain conferences against each other. I don't know.
Certain bowl games have like certain I know there's probably there has to be an ACC versus Big 12 game. There has to be one.
I don't know how it shakes out. I really don't.
Because like Holiday Bowl is Pac-12 versus Big 12. Rose Bowl is typically, if it's not used as a playoff game, it's typically Pac-12 versus Big 10.
Yeah. And then like
Orange Bowl is usually ACC versus, I think, an at-large team.
Yeah, Cotton Bowl's an SEC team.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to play you guys.
That'd be a fun game to go. I would go. I don't care where it was. I'd go to that game.
You guys don't want none of this. We'd be healthy.
Venables will have his defense together at that point.
Yeah, because he's played us for like fucking 10 years.
I've been cooking you guys for years. This is I know this team.
That'd be a big advantage for you guys.
So what other things?
I think that was all the topics that we had. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think
we can check in the schedule for next week. Kind of. I don't even know who plays like outside of like what we've seen. Let's see if there's any big ones.
And that's last
is none. Penn State, Ohio State. We've talked about that one. TCU, West Virginia. That could be a big game.
I could potentially see like West Virginia is like they're a trap team. Like they really are.
Yeah. Notre Dame at Syracuse. That'll be interesting.
I think Notre Dame could pull the upset. I don't know if they will.
I think they could too, but I don't see it.
Bro, look at the ticket price for that South Florida Houston game. It's like it's as low as $9.
$9. Hell yeah. This game's $75. That's probably like the worst seats you could ever find. That game's probably sold out already, actually. Georgia, Florida. That'll be that's a big rivalry.
That's one of those rivalry games where, I mean, like, I don't think Florida's gonna win, but they could.
No, but I think they might play them a little close. OK State, K-State. Solid game.
Is Adrian Martinez gonna be healthy for that game? That's
I don't even know what happened to him.
I don't really know because I didn't really I wasn't listening to the audio, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like watch it. I think I might have had headphones on or something. I was like hanging up these lights in my living room at the time that game was going on.
Yeah, Kentucky, Tennessee.
Tennessee's probably gonna win that one. I mean, actually, I know they're gonna win that one.
USC Michigan State, Michigan.
It's a rivalry game. You know, Ole Miss is gonna whoop Texas A&M, and it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, overall, kind of another decent weekend. I don't see there being any upsets really.
That's what would make this weekend good. Is we're hoping for an upset.
I think outside of Syracuse losing to Notre Dame, I don't see any upsets.
I think the most realistic upset, yeah, I mean, Syracuse is probably, I really think, Notre Dame could beat Syracuse. That's probably the one I would go with. I mean, I think K-State could beat Oklahoma State depending on the health of Adrian Martinez. Nebraska and Illinois, Nebraska was low-key playing decent for a few games. I don't think they're going to beat Illinois because that defense is so good.
No chance. Yeah, that Rice and Charlotte game though.
Tickets $20.
$4 here for this Old Dominion Georgia State game. Is that the lowest? $4?
That's crazy. I would go to that.
Oh, game. $3 Florida Atlantic UAB.
I wish I was a fan of a shitty team. So I could go to all their games.
Being a fan of a terrible team sucks.
Wait, does that say actually it's at Iowa State? I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to that shit, but no, I ain't driving to Iowa for that. $38. Florida State tickets low as $12. I'd go to that game.
Yeah, I would too, but the plane ticket alone is going to be pricey. I'm damn sure not driving to Florida. So
in Georgia, Florida is like $89 isn't bad for a game like that, in my opinion.
That's higher than the Penn State Ohio State game. That's two ranked teams.
I want to go to an Oklahoma State game this year. I don't know why. I think it's just that the prices are too good. You know what I mean? Like,
you might as well, man.
I'm probably gonna go to one of the. I'm probably gonna like the Thunder. Have you seen like the ticket prices are like $8? I'm like, shit. I might go to.
I don't think they'll be awful this year, but they're definitely not making the playoffs.
Well, I mean,
I think they're still too young.
Chet breaking his foot or whatever against LeBron in a pickup game, man. Why were you guarding LeBron in a pickup game? Dumbass. But yeah, I mean, this is another week upcoming where it's like it has the potential to be kind of a boring week again. I hope it's not. Yeah. I hope we just get some shockers. I hope some crazy stuff happens that really shakes things up. But I don't think this is the week. I know November 5th, we got the Georgia Tennessee game. Like that's the week where things are gonna pick up. I mean, maybe Penn State knocks Ohio State off. I don't think they will, but I mean, maybe they do.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, this is not on paper, it's not a good weekend. I hope it's good, but we're in just a weird part of the season where like we just came off that really good week and now we're just kind of like in this kind of boring 2 weeks.
It's a little lackluster for sure.
I just hope the season finishes out with some chaos, just some.
It's been a very good season so far.
It's been interesting. I mean, it just sucks that like the top like 5-6 teams hasn't moved that much. Like, I want that.
A little bit. Like, outside of Bama lost, so that's nice.
They could lose again.
Please God.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we could cut our episode here. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys watched, argue with us in the comments, argue with each other. That's what we like to see.
I will drag somebody in the comments. Come get it.
Absolutely. Roll Tide.
All right, I'm gonna go pee.